Everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never frozen chicken that is honey dipped, hand breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Right now at Wendy's, with the Biggie Bag, you get a bacon double stack, 4-piece crispy or spicy nuggets, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That's a bag with real value. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
Going down.
The home team prevails for the 4th straight game as the Bucks tie the series with the Nets at 2 games each. Now we return to Brooklyn. Will the home team roll once again, or will Giannis and the Bucks make it 3 straight? Game 5 of the Nets and Bucks. Coverage begins tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Presented by Indeed.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him up.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. How are all of you? Happy Tuesday. Look, I'm excited about today's show. Usually at this point in June, as we the halfway point in June is the 15th, by the way. Where did this all time go? Oh, by the way, internet down in the building. So just throwing that out to you, Kev. That was a message just meant for you. So I could throw my laptop across the room because it's freaking useless in this damn building. So we are off and rolling here on a Tuesday. Hope your Tuesday is going better than mine. So with that being said, I'm actually having a very good day because usually, to get back to my original point was this, is that usually in June, you're kind of getting to those, kind of redundant stories a little bit. You're just kind of, people right now are losing their mind because they're watching their quarterbacks drop back in 7-on-7 drills. Some of them. So practice makes perfect. Or so they say. We all know how important practices are. In fact, a year ago, during the NFL season, we were told that the reason that so many teams were struggling, that there was a delay in the development, especially for the bad teams and even the good teams, but any kind of team that had a lot of new faces in new places or new quarterbacks or a lot of rookies, new faces do play. There was a delay in the development because there was a lack of there was no off season. There was no off season programs. There was no OTAs, no mini camps. The preseason wasn't your traditional preseason. COVID was the ugly dark cloud that just kind of hung over not just the Bengals and Browns, but the entire National Football League. Now, with that being said, now we're getting to the point where this off season is about as normal as it can be. Teams have full off season workout, camps and trainings and everything else. Like everything is back to normal as back to normal can be. Well, today is the first day of minicamp for the Cincinnati Bengals, the last place Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, who have a quarterback that has not even played a full regular season amount of games yet. He's played 9.5 technically. He's played 9.5 games in his NFL career. The Cincinnati Bengals, today is their first day of minicamp. They have new wide receivers. They have new offensive linemen. They have pretty much a revamped defense that they've spent close to $250 million on over the last 2 years combined. That's a lot of new faces in new places with young talent, with a quarterback that you're still developing, with an offense that you're trying to get in sync. You have a new offensive line coach in Frank Pollock. You're trying to implement new schemes. All of those things are going on. Today's the first day of minicamp. And it's the last day of minicamp. With days remaining on the minicamp schedule, Zach Taylor, to the media, says that their off-season program is officially over. With days remaining. Kev, this isn't I hate the Bengals segment. They just made this easy for me. If the Browns pull this stunt, I will repeat this segment for the Cleveland Browns. Okay, well, if we get to that point. The Cincinnati Bengals, the last place Cincinnati Bengals with a quarterback who has not even played a full regular season amount of games. Cincinnati Bengals, the last place Cincinnati Bengals with a quarterback who hasn't even played a full regular season amount of games, with new offensive linemen, with a ton of new defensive places, with a 12-year-old head coach who is yet to be able to even win a substantial amount of games to even make his job safe, decides to say, y'all can go home early. You'll have a great summer. What are you doing? And I don't want to hear that the Houston Texans have done this. They're the Houston Texans. Another disastrous franchise. So you want to follow what they're doing? And of course, I keep hearing this, Kev. This has been a common response on a lot of the social media posts that I've had regarding this today. It's one of those things where they say, well, they had 100% attendance at OTAs, and this was his way of rewarding them. Some other reports are coming out that this was used as leverage to kind of get the team fully vaccinated, because there is a plus to having your team fully vaccinated, or at least a certain threshold that you could eliminate a lot of the COVID protocols. Because again, just because Ohio's open, it doesn't mean that the Cincinnati Bengals have to operate under the protocol of the NFL umbrella, not the state umbrella. So keep that in mind. I get all of that, but again, you should not be using time together on the field. That's so important. It's so valuable. All these teams last year did nothing but cry, bitch, moan, and complain because, we didn't have a regular offseason. We didn't have OTAs. We didn't have mini camp. We didn't have a full offseason program. And now last place teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, who have won 6 games in 2 years, are now just voluntarily going home. Yeah, Kev, I'm sorry. This isn't it's a Bengals segment and topic because the Bengals are doing it, but I promise you I would have the same outrage if the Cleveland Browns were doing this as well. And there's a good chance that they could, and I will continue to be consistent with that. But as of right now, the Bengals are up on my target list right now, and this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. They are not good enough to just throw days of mini camp away. And another thing I just got told to me, why risk injury? Well, if that's the case, don't show up to preseason. Don't practice. Just show up with your pads for week 1 of the National Football League season. And if you're really worried about injuries, I wouldn't even play football anymore. I mean, if that's really, Kev, take it over from here. But I'm not okay with this. Not okay with it, yes, because it's the Bengals. Yes, they're because they've won 6 games in 2 years, but they're not good enough to sit here and just take days that they have together as a team to just throw them away. You can't. Your quarterback's played 9.5 games. You have all these new pieces on defense and offense. What are you doing, Kev? I'm just not a fan of this.
Those type of things you can do with a veteran-laced team. Like, I don't know who's a real deep veteran team.
I mean, the Bucs technically all starters.
Champion.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl champions, you could do that with. Kansas City Chiefs, teams that are veterans that know the ins and outs of the offense and the defense and everything like that. Things that you need reps on from your quarterback, your offensive lineman, your wide receivers and everything like that. I know Joe Burrow and Chase, they had an epic year. Their 1 year playing together at LSU and everything like that. But that was 2 years ago. So timing could be off. So all these little things matter in the grand scope of things. So I just got this to say: grand opening, grand closing. Look, man, I've tried to be the guy on this show to kind of like, all right, man, give the young coach some time, give him some leeway. He's trying to figure out a way to, be with his young players and communicate and everything like that. You're blowing opportunities for them to learn. Like, your job as a coach is to teach. I know like it kind of gets lost in translation, but teaching is a part of a coach's job. That's really their main job, especially in practice. I mean, the game is the easy part. The practice is the hard part. So him blowing the opportunity or negating the opportunity to teach his players, to get everybody on the same page, is a blown opportunity. And just from my perspective, looking at the Cincinnati Bengals and all the things that we always hear about the Bengals is this a call from up top to save money? Because, I mean, lights, Gatorade, water, like all those things cost money. So is this just the Bengals being cheap, saying, all right, we had one full day, that's enough. See you guys for the real mini camp that starts up next month? Could that possibly be it?
No. Because Mike Brown, maybe, yes, I see what you're saying, but like that, I can't believe that would even be considered at the risk of, you have so many new faces and a young quarterback.
The coach can't do this without getting the green light from the organization. He can't say, all right, that's it, guys. We were here one day. We had perfect attendance. Everybody go home. He can't do that without getting the green light from the top.
But like that's what this rant is. I mean, it's centered around Zach Taylor, because Zach Taylor is the one that addressed the media and said that, the off-season program is officially over. So that's why it sounds like it's directed at Zach Taylor. And he's, of course, is going to take the brunt of the heat because he's the head coach. But you're right. This was an organizational decision to do this. Look, and let me be clear here. I'm not overreacting to this. But at the same time, I don't put a lot of emotional stock into minicamp, into OTAs from a fan's perspective. That doesn't interest me. I don't care about watching football players in helmets only in 7-on-7 drills. That stuff just doesn't, that for me, it just doesn't interest me. But we were preached to all last season about how devastating it was for all of these teams, especially with rookie quarterbacks and new quarterbacks and rebuilt rosters, how not having OTAs, not having mini camps, not having full off-season programs and workouts, how that just was detrimental to the development of a lot of teams. We heard all of that. We heard that about the Cincinnati Bengals, for example. And now you have teams who are actually pulling the plug on their off-season programs voluntarily. I'm sorry, I can't support that. And I promise you, Bengals fans, I'm throwing a lot of shade at your team, but if the Cleveland Browns do this, I'll be just as upset and angry as well. And I know what you're saying, too, about the Bucs and the Chiefs, but at the same time, the reason that those players became great and the reason that those teams became great is because of the time on the field together, the opportunities that they've had to gel. I would argue that the Bucs, although they bring back all 22 starters from a season ago, Super Bowl team, that's still a team that is still relatively new and young within playing together. In fact, they really started to hit their groove late in the regular season into the playoffs. So, they have to find a way to capture that and to pick it up where they left off to start the season. So they still have a lot to do. The Chiefs, they have new offensive linemen in Tooney and Orlando Brown and some others that they've added. They have a lot of chemistry issues that they need to button up. And the Cincinnati Bengals fans, even you most delusional, diehard Bengals fans that think your team could do no wrong while winning only 6 games in 2 years, you cannot sit here and think that I'm just being a hater by pointing out that your team is full of it for calling it early. The first day of camp is the last day of camp. Are you kidding me? You should be like, this isn't me versus you, Bengals fans. That's the sad thing about a lot of these conversations we have is a lot of times I'm wanting the same thing as Bengals fans, but yet it turns into me versus them. And I'm amazed at how they sit here and just put a weird, goofy smile on their face and say, I love the Bengals. I love the Bengals. You should be just as mad as me. You should be just as mad as I am that the Bengals are not having that offense out on the field, getting their chemistry set, getting that to get it all figured out. Yeah. Defensively, especially as well. I think that's very key as well. So, and I don't want to hear about injuries. You can get hurt walking to your car. I don't want to hear it. All right. I don't want to hear about injuries. This isn't like full, we're not having preseason games in June. All right. We're talking about 7-on-7s. We're just talking about any kind of workouts together as a team that you can have. I was told how important that was a year ago. And this year, now everyone's like, oh, it's no big deal. Injuries, you can't have those. Give me a break.
I don't know, man. I'm still stuck on this has to be a call from up top. And when you make these calls from up top and you just say, for instance, Zach Taylor doesn't want to do this. Say Zach Taylor really wants to have the guys out there going through reps and everything like that. But he has to be the fall guy. Like, I'm starting to feel like he's the fall guy for the organization. And I don't think he gets paid to be the fall guy. Like, those fall guy positions are positions like a general manager and things of that nature. When Bill Belichick goes up there to a press conference, when he actually does answer a question, he gives you a concise answer and that's that. But with this situation with Zach Taylor, we did it. We're here. We're gone. Now, I'm hoping that it's a situation where you were talking about with the COVID vaccine, because when you have the vaccine, you're allowed to meet in person more and all that type of stuff. So I'm hoping for Zach Taylor's fate that's what this is. That's what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, though.
Again, using this as leverage is like, hey, guys, if we all get vaccinated to meet that threshold, we'll end camp a couple days early. I'm with you. I get that teams are trying to come up with some incentives to getting their team to meet that threshold. I agree with you 1,000,000%. But I do think that there should be some kind of limit of what you're willing to give up. You should not be giving up field time to accomplish that. Now, unless they're saying, hey, we're going to give up field time for those who are willing to go get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So you can miss, you can, like here at work, for instance, we have our PTO days, but we also have volunteer hours. So if we choose to go help a nonprofit here in the Miami Valley or go help with, volunteer around the city, which a lot of us do, we take advantage of that. Our company has given us allotted hours that, okay, we don't have to work that day, but we have to use those hours for volunteer time. So again, we don't have to come to work that day, but we can't just sit at home and say we're volunteer. We actually have to go out. So you may not have to show up to minicamp, but you at least need to go and get that little proof of, your vaccine or whatever.
Proof of purchase.
So I'm with you. I have no problem with teams trying to find incentives to get their team to get vaccinated to meet that threshold. However, I am not a fan of the idea that you should give up minicamp time when we were just preached to for over a year about the importance of, how important it is to get these teams together, to get that chemistry right. And the Cincinnati Bengals, you can argue some teams maybe don't need it, more veteran-led squads. This is not a team. This is not the poster child of a team that fits that description of, we could afford to have a couple days of mini camp shaved short. I'm sorry, that's just not the case. And even Cleveland, who won 12 games last year, one of those being a playoff game, Kev, I will be irate if they cut their camp time short as well, because Baker's had one great season, a great rookie year, plummeted year two, elevated above and beyond what he did his rookie season, led his team to the playoffs, led his team to a victory on the road in the playoffs with their head coach having to coach that game from home. There was so much adversity. You don't just sit there and say, all right, I think he's figured. No, you got to build on that. Now, this is the first time that Baker's ever had an opportunity to play for the same offensive coordinator and coach in back-to-back seasons. That's why it's important for the Browns to make sure that they get a full mini camp in. So that's where I'm at with that. Bengals, come on now. You're better than that. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of teams like the Bengals and others who sit there and think that they're smarter than everybody else, all while looking up at every other team in their division while they're in last place. And then at the end of the year, we have to hear all the excuses. Injuries, they didn't have this guy. This guy's only in year two. It's only a second-year quarter. I don't want to hear any of that. I'm not saying you're going to be bad. Look, you were going to be bad with extra minicamp days. Let's just be clear. But this isn't helping. It's not. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. Head to YouTube, search ESPN Dayton on YouTube, and subscribe to the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. You can watch us live from 3 to 6. You can watch us live from 3 to 6 there, or you can head to Facebook and search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook and jump in on the conversation. Speaking of that conversation, let's go to the Facebook chat. Justin Nickel, he's a Bengals fan. He goes, it looks like I got to listen to a good show today. LOL, who day? And he goes on to say that totally agree with you, Justin and Kevin. I'm just finding this out now. Of course, the Cincinnati Bengals have, in their first day of minicamp, it's not their last, Zach Taylor announcing that, their offseason program is officially done. Keith Tolliver says, yesterday, T. Higgins looking great in minicamp. Next thing you know, we good, close camp, fellas. Second guessing, picking Chase over Sewell, just throwing it out there. Look, I wanted them to pick Sewell. They did not pick a bad player. They picked a really, really good player in Jamar Chase. But that's all the more reason why you need to have minicamp to get that chemistry. And stop with they were smooth in college and blah, 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 blah. This isn't college. They actually had an offensive line in college. They don't have that in the NFL. So they need to make sure that they're more than smooth and everything else like that. So, yeah, maybe not the first day of minicamp, but, the early stages of minicamp officially comes to an end. All right, so coming up around the corner, we'll dive into Kev Nash bringing us over under. We also have our sympathy meter that we'll get into. Nick Chubb, he reveals something very interesting about his future in Cleveland, which is such a huge deal for the success of the Cleveland Browns moving forward. We'll get into all of that. Plus, of course, we'll talk about the shrinking Cincinnati Reds. They are red hot, one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball, and they are now 2 games over 500. They didn't just beat the Brewers, they blitzed the Brewers yesterday. Good for them. Are the Reds for real? Are you buying in? I don't know where I'm at yet. We'll discuss all of that. So much to get into. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and breezy, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 55, and tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven. It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you can pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Introducing in-person payments from PayPal, a touch-free way for your customers to pay and tip. Whether you're a hot dog vendor,
Mustard? You gotta have the mustard.
a personal trainer,
Don't you drop those knees, Sandra!
or a boba shop.
Brewed to pearly perfection.
Signing up your business is easy. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan, pay, and tip too. Shop safe with touch-free QR code payments. Fees may apply. For more info, go to paypal.com/us/getQRcode.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
It's like I blinked and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
My customers want everything now and faster than ever. It's a whole different world.
Your business is changing. The United States Postal Service is changing with it. We're bringing you fast, reliable shipping nationwide, and we're bringing it right when your customers need it. Let's discover new routes. Visit USPS.com/new routes. The United States Postal Service. Priority you.
Hi, this is John McManus, Chief Deputy to Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley. Because of a recent change in Ohio law, you can now have your documents notarized online. Clerk Mike Foley is pleased to offer you this service today. If you would like to request an online notarization, please visit courthouse2u.com and click on Online Notary to make an appointment. You can now enjoy our same great customer service from the comfort of your home. Visit courthouse2u.com today.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back, baby back.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Get 5-star tools for your 5-star dad with battery power made by Steel. From mowers and blowers to trimmers and more, with the AK Homeowner Series starting at $199.99, Dad can get the work done quickly and make more time for what really matters. Shop online at steelusa.com/gift guide. Pick up at over 10,000 local Steel dealers. All prices MSRP, includes battery and charger, available participating dealers. Dad doesn't quit until the job is done. So get him gas-powered tools from Steel that can keep up with him. From chainsaws and trimmers to blowers and more, Steel has the tools Dad needs. With legendary Steel gas-powered equipment starting at $139.99. Shop online at steelusa.com/gift guide. Pick up at over 10,000 local Steel dealers. All prices MSRP, available participating dealers.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of 4 is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this: unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Two games over 500. The Cincinnati Reds, game 2, they have tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. Last night, look, right now, I don't know how to feel about this Reds team. But I do know that Kev, I'm not allowed to jump. I'm not allowed to start spinning my coverage into a positive light because this team, every time I say they're going to get swept, every time I say they're going to drop 2 or 3, every time, they do the opposite. And then the home series that they had with the Brewers, I said that the Reds were going to take 2 or 3. They dropped 2 or 3. And then when I said that they were going to get swept by the Brewers, they win last night in big fashion. So I'm telling you right now, I think that I'm going to do this for our Reds fans who listen. Now, I'm going to continue to be negative about this Reds team, and I need you to understand that I'm just trying to trick the baseball gods out there that, hey, look, there's a certain pattern developing right now. We just got to stick to it. You got to stick to it. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash presented by Orion Sports Medicine. It's now that time for Kev Nash to bring us over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right, first step on deck for over under. Kev, kick us off for starting in the NBA.
Yes, sir. With James Harden out, Kyrie Irving out for Game 5, the Nets superstar Kevin Durant faces the Red Hot Bucks team solo dolo. So over under. KD scoring 42 points tonight.
Well, this news just broke about an hour before the show started. James Harden has been cleared to play tonight.
Oh.
Here's the problem I have with that. If Kyrie doesn't get hurt, is James Harden magically cleared to play tonight? This is why I don't respect what's going on. But although it was I talked about this earlier in the week. We said over under how many games would James Harden miss? And I said, well, if they have control of this series, I wouldn't play him at all this series and just get everyone healthy heading into the next. I do find it very ironic that the second that we consider Kyrie Irving down and out for the count, that all of a sudden James Harden is just magically healed. I don't know how many Hail Marys he had to drop for him to be able to magically walk again, but more power to him. So we got to change this up slightly. Over under KD scoring 42 points tonight. Look, if you have a hobble James Harden coming back who has been off for how long? How long has he been out?
He didn't play game 1.
So of this series,
42 seconds of game 1, he went out.
So look, he's not out of shape because he's only missed a little bit. So that's the same thing. But I don't know. At this point, over under KD scoring 42 points, I'm gonna take the under. I would have said under even if James Harden wasn't playing tonight. I still don't think James Harden's going to be a huge lift for this team. I think it's going to be an option for him to kick out and shoot. It just depends how healthy he is. Doctors have cleared him, so he clearly has to be healthy. But I don't get how you go from just being considered out to all of a sudden cleared to play within 48 hours. I have a huge problem with that. With what this is why not just Brooklyn, but all teams are doing this. All team doctors are doing this, where they're kind of playing the game too, of kind of hiding these superstars off in the corner. But I'm gonna take the under. KD is gonna score under 42 points tonight. They also lose tonight. Bucks take a 3-2 lead tonight.
For me, with the Harden situation, it's fishy. I understand what you're saying, but they're up against it. And could we potentially be seeing a situation that we saw with Anthony Davis as well? Him basically going out there when he shouldn't be out there, and then he'll actually pull in a hamstring, and then him really being out. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But as far as the over-under for KD, I'm going over. I think KD if they go lose, I think he's going out in a blaze of glory. Like, hey, forget it. I'm putting up 30 shots. I don't care what my shooting percentage is. I'm gonna just keep chucking and chucking and chucking because, hey, I'm the only option out here. I'm the best option. KD has never been a guy that's like, all right, I'm gonna be the best passer on the team. I'm gonna set people up. He's been a scorer, and that's what he does. So I'm gonna go with the over. I still think the Bucks are gonna win, but I think we're gonna get one of those cool performances from a KD, kind of a la Dame Lillard, where he dropped to 55, but they lost. But I think we're gonna get something similar from KD. I think he's gonna score a ton of points, but they're gonna lose ultimately to a better team.
Going down, swinging. And look, and keep in mind, Kevin Durant, he's put up a ton of points in his career, and he has always had superstars that he's played with. Mm-hmm. He came up with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. He moved on to the Warriors, where he had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Then he comes here with Kyrie and James Harden. He has always had to fight to get his shots and to be able to get his points while sharing the rock with superstars around him. I can't tell you a time where KD had to go out there and play with no superstars around him. I know James Harden's cleared to play tonight. I don't know if it's the same situation that you just brought up. Of course, AD when it was announced, the heroic thing. But the difference between James Harden and AD was with Anthony Davis. There was people questioning his toughness. They were calling him street clothes. They were doing all this, which is why I felt that whole effort to play, he knew he wasn't going to be able to play. The team doctors knew he wasn't going to be able to play. The Lakers knew he wasn't going to be able to play. I think everyone, that was clearly done just to save the face of Anthony Davis so that he could at least say, hey man, I tried. James Harden's not facing that same pressure that Anthony Davis was facing, so I don't know if that's what this is or not. I do believe that I'm not going to give the Nets the benefit of the doubt because they've been playing rest ball all season. Mm-hmm. Why would they stop now, especially as they're kind of looking at certain opponents saying, yeah, we don't respect you enough for me to have to force myself to play. But now I don't know if they respect the Bucks, but I think they respect the situation that they're in. Hey, we lose tonight, we go down 3-2, and then we face an elimination game. I think that they want to take their chances with being up 3-2, and if he's out, then letting Kevin Durant close the deal to at least get him to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm going to take the under. But yeah, KD not having superstars around him, for him to get all those shots and get all that attention, we'll see how that works. I just don't think he's going to get over 42, but it would not surprise me if he gets over 50. I mean, that's just how this works. His teammates are bad, though. They're not good.
Yeah, got a lot of guys that should be playing rec basketball. Number 2, we're going to flip it to the baseball round real quick. The Cincinnati Reds stay red hot, beating the Brewers 10-2 last night with 2 more games versus the Brew Crew and 4 more versus the first place Padres. Next up in their next 4 games, what do you have the Reds winning? I'm going to do that over because I totally butchered it. Okay, Cincinnati Reds stay red hot with 10-2 win over the Brew Crew last night with 2 more games versus the Brewers and 4 games in the series versus the Padres up next. Over or under 2.5 wins in the next 5 games for the Cincinnati Reds.
I'm going to stay consistent. I thought that they were going to drop 2 or 3 to the Brewers. I still think they're in that position to drop 2 or 3 to the Brewers. I mean, they got the win last night and they did it in dramatic fashion. They had a call-up pitcher that has got a few starts that has looked fantastic this season. But I can't trust the Reds with that bullpen the way it is. Like, I trust the offense. I trust what they're getting as far as run production is concerned, obviously, and you know what you get with Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos. Votto has been on fire since coming back off the IL, and you look at the contributions you're getting from around there. How about, you look at Jonathan India right now. The Reds have a problem whenever, I think I just read earlier today that Moustakas is going to be getting some rehab appearances coming up. He's going to be called up any time now. The Reds have a little bit of a cluster in that middle infield as they continue to try to force the square peg in a round hole with Eugenio Suarez, who's hitting, at a pitcher's line right now. I think the Reds I'm going to stick to so you said what? Hold on, I got to find where this was. So over under 2.5 wins in the next 4.
Next six.
In the next 6.
Yep.
I'll take the over. They'll split. I think they'll win 3 of their next 6. And I mean, they're a 500 ball club, and I'm always going to stick to that line of 500 at the very least. So they're going to win 3 of their next 6. I'll be surprised if they get another one against the Brewers. But I do like their chances of splitting with the Padres right after that, which would put them at that 3-game mark.
Fair enough. Normally I would go opposite of you on the Reds because you're bad luck, but I'm going to go with the over as well. I think they're going to get 3 of the next 6. Just like you said, they're pretty much a 500 baseball team. They win, they lose. They win, they lose, lose. So I'll say they're going to split these next 6 games and get with the over with 3 wins.
All right, next up on Kev Nash brings us over under. Kev Nash, what's up?
Let's go to the college football realm. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud has the 4th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy according to Las Vegas. So over or under C.J. Stroud finishing 3rd in Heisman voting.
Right now, I mean, I'm gonna have to say, look, I don't think he's gonna be in the Heisman voting. So I just don't think he's going to be there yet, mainly just because we don't know. And I'm not going to do what the Buckeye Homer blogger sites are doing and just right away, well, he's a Buckeye, so he's automatically going to be there. Look, Justin Fields last year, despite his numbers being down, he still had a very good season. Like, it wasn't a bad, and he wasn't there standing at the very end either. I think you're going to see Stroud make some mistakes. Look, you're playing Oregon this year. You're playing at Indiana this year. Whoever the quarterback is, you're playing Oregon this year. There's NFL talent on that Oregon defense. You're playing Indiana, who actually has NFL talent on that defense. You're playing Penn State. They're playing good teams this year. So that's why I don't think he's going to be a Heisman finalist when it's all said and done. So there's that. But that's not a shot at him. I think he's going to have a great season. I think there's going to be a learning curve along the way. Justin Fields was a much better prospect coming in than what C.J. Stroud is, but C.J. Stroud has got to sit back and absorb the offense a little more. Maybe that'll help, but I'm going to stick to the middle here and just say he's going to be very good, but I don't think he's going to be a Heisman finalist at the end of the season.
I'm going to go with the under as well. I'll say he's going to finish around 5th, 6th, somewhere around there. He's going to have a ton of splash plays. His ability to run, and Justin Fields obviously had the ability to run, but the offense was really focused around his arm as opposed to his legs. With a young quarterback, I feel like the Buckeyes are going to use his legs a lot more. So I think that they're going to be a lot of big plays from the offense because the receivers are great. So I don't see them running a lot of intermediate routes. I see them running a lot of home run routes. So I see him throwing a lot of big touchdown passes and running for big yards.
That's true. They have too good of a wide receiving core to be conservative with them. Ryan Day's offense is not conservative, but they also have a kick-ass run game. I've heard a lot of great things about Trevion Henderson, not just who he was in high school, but how he's looked since coming to Ohio State.
Early enrollee.
Yeah, early enrollment. Again, he's been a beast in the weight room. He's also showed out in some of these off-season programs as well. I just think it's a good. Like I said, he's going to have a great season. But yeah, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Cassius Clay on Facebook, Kev, says, "Why are OSU QBs so overhyped? Name a quarterback that has had success in and out of college. It's been a while. I'll wait." I'm just saying, I don't think the quarterbacks at Ohio State are overhyped at all. And to be honest with you, I think that Justin Fields had a lot of hype because he's Justin Fields. I don't think JT Barrett never got overhyped. JT Barrett he set Big Ten record after Big Ten record, OSU record after OSU record. I don't think JT was ever a Heisman finalist. I don't think OSU quarterbacks are overhyped at all. CJ Stroud may get that overhyped push, and that's more of a respect thing for Ryan Day and the offense over the last however many years that he's been a part of the program, not just his head coach. So I don't think these quarterbacks are overhyped at all. And if he is a Heisman finalist at the end of the year, I'm not going to be upset. All I'm saying is I don't know enough about him.
Right.
I think that there's going to be you have good competition on the schedule. You have Oregon, Indiana's much improved. You have your Penn States and Michigans and everything else. So I just don't think he'll be a Heisman finalist. I think he'll be really good, but I disagree with Cassius. I do not think the quarterbacks to Ohio State are overhyped. Hell, they're not even overhyped going into the NFL. I think Justin Fields was punished for being an Ohio State quarterback. I do not believe these quarterbacks are overhyped in the slightest, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't get where that narrative comes from. I think people have to understand that they're college quarterbacks before they're NFL quarterbacks. So when you're hyped up in college, that means you're doing your job. That means you're scoring the points. It means your offense is clicking. The last, I don't know, let's see, like you talked about JT Barrett, they scored a ton of points, made it to the college football playoff. Justin Fields, they scored a ton of points. They made it to the college football playoff twice and went to the national championship game last year. Who was the quarterback before JT? Braxton Miller. He won a ton of football games, put up a ton of yards, running and throwing. So they're doing their job as a quarterback there. So when you try to start saying, don't
forget about Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins was
Dwayne Haskins set passing records and touchdown records. So I don't get the overhype. They're doing exactly what they're expected to do when they're the lead guy at Ohio State. Now, are you saying, like, are they overhyped going to the NFL? I don't think they're overhyped going to the NFL. I think, like you just talked about, like when Ohio State quarterbacks come out, they have that, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote stink on them. Like, where they're Ohio State quarterback, are they just products of the system and everything like that? So yeah, that's a reality that they have to deal with. But the reality of the situation is most Ohio State quarterbacks put up monster numbers.
Actually won a Heisman.
Monster numbers, and more importantly, win a ton of football games.
Yeah, and let's be clear too. I mean, you look at Alabama, the same thing. I mean, their quarterbacks get love all the time, and their quarterbacks. I mean, you got Tua and then Mac Jones, who have just been off the charts good, but those aren't your traditional Alabama quarterbacks. I mean, AJ McCarron, those quarterbacks have always been really, really good. But you look at the numbers Mac Jones has put up and you look at what Tua did. I mean, that was a different level Alabama. And it's the same thing with these QBs at Ohio State right now. But Justin Nickel, brought up Troy Smith, who actually won it. Justin, we were just trying to look back at this last decade. But yes, we can go back, who actually won the Heisman. And, he did not do so well in the NFL. I get that, but also, it's a different game. That should not hinder who they are as college quarterbacks. Right. We got off on a little soapbox there, but again, if you're just tuning in, I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Kev Nash bringing us his over/under. Kev, what's up next?
Ooh, let's go to the NFL. Your Cleveland Browns.
Here we go.
Mandatory minicamp has kicked off. The Browns spent a ton of big money in free agency and used draft picks to fix that defense. So over or under, the new look Browns defense giving up 23 points per game. Now, last season, they gave up 26.2 points per game last season. So over or under 23 points per game this season given up by the new look Browns defense.
Well, what's funny about 23 points per game, and that sounds really, really good, but and this is why I'm not a big fan of saying, this team was ranked 16th in the NFL in total defense. Like, people do that with the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers last year, many people tried saying that their defense wasn't very good. That they weren't very good. They were ranked I think 17th or 16th in total defense last year. They gave up 23 points per game. That's pretty good. 12 teams in the NFL last year gave up under 23 points per game. The Packers being one of those, but we looked at the ranking and said, they're a middle of the pack defense. Well, I mean, you had a lot of teams stacked right there, giving up around roughly that same amount of points. Mm-hmm. I think that the Cleveland Browns defense is going to improve dramatically. I think that I'm going to take the under on that, but I'm not going to say it won't be under 20. I think they'll give up between 20 to 22 points per game in that range. I just think I look at that secondary that they added. I do not believe that their pass rush, by the way, Sheldon Richardson signed back with the Minnesota Vikings today. So the Bengals are preparing for that. Oh, no, they ended their mini camp. Sorry, they are not. But that's their week one opponent. But no, I do not. I'm not a big believer in the Browns pass rush, but I do think that it's very serviceable. I think they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. I don't think their sack totals are going to be high, but I think they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. Their linebacker play has been improved, and their secondary is off the charts right now with adding, the pieces that they did in the offseason. So I think that alone right there is going to shave 5 points per game off of their 26.5 points per game that they gave up a season ago. So I'm going to take the over on the 23, or I'm going to take the under on the 23, but it's it'll be just slightly under the 23 points per game mark. But I think they at least take at least a full touchdown per game off of their their points per game from last season.
That's fair. I'm going to go with the over because in this league, it's a passing league. It's a scoring league. Just because you give up a lot of points doesn't necessarily mean that your defense isn't any good. I mean, you look at some of the teams that only gave up a couple touchdowns per game and only gave up like 19 and 18 points per game, like the Ravens and the Steelers. Hey, guess what they were doing? Watching the Super Bowl just like everybody else. So the team that gave up 23 points per game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they hoisted the trophy. So that whole thing about points per game, it's about situational football. Are you getting turnovers at the right time? Are you getting those 3 and outs at the right time? So I'm going to go with the over, but that doesn't necessarily mean the defense is going to be any worse than it was last year. I think it's actually going to be better, but it's all about situational football for me.
The other reason I'm taking the under is because I think that their division is helping them out. I don't care how good you Bengals fan think Joe Burrow is. That offense, I'm not going to buy into. I know if Riley Reif was that missing piece and Jackson Carman was a bust of, I'm calling it, he's a bust. I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's a bust of a pick, typical Bengals fashion. So Riley Reif is the only thing the Bengals have to hope for to improve that offensive line slightly to give Joe Burrow time to throw. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried about the Bengals offense. Steelers offense is always going to be, you have to respect it, but I don't think that they're going to dice up the Browns defense with this secondary. And the Ravens aren't a good passing team, and you just have to contain Lamar. And I'm not saying that like, all you have to do. And by the way, Lamar torched the Browns defense last year through the air, but again, improvements at the defensive end. So we'll see. Again, you got 2 against Lamar, not a great passing quarterback, 2 against an aged Big Ben, and probably 1 against Joe Burrow. So there you go.
Last one, man.
So he'll be hurt.
Oh my goodness. Browns running back Nick Chubb told reporters today at minicamp that his agent is going to handle all contract extension negotiations with ownership, and he reiterated that he wants to continue to play with the Cleveland Browns. So over or under 2.5 more seasons for Nick Chubb with the Cleveland Browns.
Like, this is tough. I have to stay consistent here and say that I'm not a fan of a team taking a cap space pie chart and giving a good chunk of that pie chart to a running back. I'm sorry. It's hard for me. As much as I love Nick Chubb, my big thing is this. Can you replace Nick Chubb? I think it's difficult to replace the Nick Chubb with the great Nick Chubb. However, I do believe that having a great offensive line can take average backs to good to great backs. I'm not saying that you're going to replace Nick Chubb with a equal or better, but I do believe that I would rather see them take the money that they're going to invest into him and put into the Browns offensive line. I think that's going to be the key to the success, because as good as Baker is, Baker needs that offensive line to be good. Joe Burrow, I'll give Joe Burrow this. He didn't need a great offensive line. He didn't even need an NFL offensive line to put up the numbers that he did. That's not Baker. Baker needs to have time in the pocket to be able to let the offense kind of flow out a bit. So I just think that that's very important. If you're going to invest into Baker, you have to invest in that offensive line to give him time to throw. And I think that you can invest into Kareem Hunt and maybe some other backs, whether it's through the draft or whatever. I'm going to say under. I think he's obviously going to play this year, and will probably play next year under the tag if they have to go to that route, but I do not see him playing for the Browns past 22. I just think that too many times teams get enamored by their star running back, but they forget just how easy it is to go out and get a star running back. Nick Chubb, though, I will say, is slightly different than just a good running back. J.K. Dobbins is an example of a really, really good running back, but there's a lot of J.K. Dobbins out there. There's not a lot of Nick Chubbs. That's going to be the dilemma that the Browns have to face. The other problem is they got Nick Chubb, they got Denzel Ward and Baker all in that same draft. You owe them all money all at the same time. Yeah. I think that Denzel Ward is more important than Nick Chubb. However, based on the Browns signings and their draft, they might be preparing for life without Denzel Ward. It might be Denzel Ward that gets the short end of the stick, and they might invest into Chubb. But for me, for my preference, as much as I love him, 2 more years of Nick Chubb, and then go get the next running back that you're going to pound into the ground as far as that goes. So I'm going to say under for Nick Chubb as a Cleveland Brown moving forward. But I do love that he wants to be in Cleveland. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Nick Chubb says all the right things. From all accounts, man, he seems like a stand-up guy. I really like him as a person, not as a player, because he plays for the team that I don't root for. But anyway, I'm going to go with the over.
Okay.
Because I think the Cleveland Browns know he's the best player on the football team. I think the Cleveland Browns know that everything funnels through him. And if we can take a look at that game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers where he was out, Kareem Hunt wasn't hitting those holes like Nick Chubb was hitting those holes and everything like that. And the cutback that he had against the Steelers in that playoff game where his run iced it, I don't see Kareem Hunt doing those type of things. I see Kareem Hunt, lining up. And I think the Kareem Hunt thing is a real situation. We talked about it back when he signed his extension with the Cleveland Browns and everything like that. So that's going to loom over their head. I think they're going to end up franchising him probably for 2 years and then give him a solid deal. And as I think about it, I'm going to go with the under because I just said it out loud. They're going to franchise him and they're probably going to let him walk. As I think about it out loud, talking about it, I'm going to go with the under. He's going to play for the Cleveland Browns 2 more seasons, and then by the third season, he's going to be playing for somebody else.
Yeah, because
on a big contract somewhere else on a bad team.
You want to know what's going to be key to this too. The production of Derrick Henry this year is going to go into whether the Browns really invest into Chubb long-term moving forward. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, right now, everything we just said about Chubb and how good he is, the Titans were saying the same thing. Now, luckily, Derrick Henry, after signing that deal, because look, the Rams weren't fortunate. Remember when they gave that big money, to their guy in Gurley? He was never the same since then. Look at the Cowboys with Zeke. I mean, there's a ton of examples. The Cowboys gave big-time dollars to Zeke. That didn't work out. The Jaguars gave big-time money to Leonard Fournette. That didn't work out. There's a list a mile long of running backs who regressed the second they got that big contract. Derrick Henry could help Nick Chubb.
He went up 500 more yards.
Yes,
after getting the contract.
That's what I'm saying. And so and then you look at Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook could play a huge role in whether Nick Chubb gets that extension or not as well, because there's just way more examples of max running backs regressing after a deal than the guys who excel after they get their contract. Derrick Henry is just a different animal, though. But I think Nick Chubb's cut from that same, type. I think they're the same. I think Derrick Henry's better, don't get me wrong, but I think they're very similar backs, and being the power backs, we shall see. But no, I do, like I said, with Denzel Ward, the Browns didn't, based on free agency and the draft, it's not as if that they're keeping his spot safe. I mean, it's like they have backup plans for if Denzel Ward is out. Now, that could be because he's injury prone and they want to have depth there, or it could be because they're planning on not extending him after next season, and maybe that money is going to go to Baker Chubb, and then you kind of go from there. So we shall see. Remember, max dollar's already been paid to Myles Garrett. You only get so many of those contracts on your roster, so they got to be selective with that. We shall see. All right, and that is Kev Nash bringing us over under. Keith Tolliver on Facebook says Ward is hurt so much, so shouldn't cost them that much, in my opinion, when it comes to extending him. That's true too, and I'm sure that will be brought up in negotiations with that. But yeah, the Browns had one kick-ass draft, and you had Baker, Denzel Ward, and Nick Chubb all in the first and second rounds. I mean, they're no Jackson Carman by any means, but I mean, they're pretty good.
Now it's time to pay the piper.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Get your work done faster with Works 20-volt tools. Pick up your choice of lawn and garden or power tools and use the same battery for all. Check out our great in-stock selection of Works 20-volt tools, all 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 19th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus. You and I are infinite. When you've lived many lifetimes. What do I know that you need so bad?
That's why you're here, to find out.
The possibilities are infinite. We have fought one another for centuries. Hello, old friend. Mark Wahlberg.
Let's go. You know what, man? I like you this time around.
Infinite. Rated PG-13. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is the sound of a blizzard treat at DQ. But it also sounds like a weekend bike ride, a post-game celebration, and a sunset on the dock. Wow, doesn't a blizzard treat sound good? Stop by DQ and grab one today to find out for yourself with just one bite, with flavors like Oreo, cookie dough, and more. DQ, happy tastes good.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the ninth inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we can help you find the right oil for your next change. We've got what your car's engine needs. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And you can get it all fast your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Get 5-star tools for your 5-star dad with battery power made by Steel. From mowers and blowers to trimmers and more, with the AK Homeowner Series starting at $199.99, Dad can get the work done quickly and make more time for what really matters. Shop online at steelusa.com/gift guide. Pick up at over 10,000 local Steel dealers. All prices MSRP, includes battery and charger, available participating dealers. Dad doesn't quit until the job is done. So get him gas-powered tools from Steel that can keep up with him. From chainsaws and trimmers to blowers and more, Steel has the tools Dad needs. With legendary Steel gas-powered equipment starting at $139.99. Shop online at steelusa.com/gift guide. Pick up at over 10,000 local Steel dealers. All prices MSRP, available participating dealers.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
So I saw an updated number on the transfer portal the other day, and I don't want to get back into our opinions on the transfer portal, but I think it's kind of panic time. This is for college basketball. The last I checked, there was over 1,600 names in the transfer portal, Kev. Like, what the hell? Like, you know, we talked about, and by the way, this, I guess it always sorts itself out, but I really want to hear a story of a guy that left thinking he was going to get to a better opportunity that ultimately got left outside in the cold. I'm not rooting for that. That's never like my thing here. I'm never, and if I do come across that story, I'm not going to say, ha, you deserve it. All I'm saying is that like, this is what has been preached about, being careful with this. There was a graphic I saw here. I shared on my Facebook page the other day that said, oh man, like it was a football player said, third string ? I'm entering the transfer portal. And then the transfer portal looks like one of those long ass, line, like it's just a line with thousands of people. And he goes, oh man, I just went from number 3 to number 1300. And it's just, it looks like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's true. So it's just one of those where, what are we doing here? There's 1,600 names in the transfer portal still. And like, I keep following different accounts on social media that will also give updates on players from the transfer portal who have signed and committed to teams. The only thing from those social media platforms I've come across, Kev, are just more names entering the portal. And I don't understand it. Again, don't understand why they're leaving. I just don't understand, like, are these guys and gals being educated enough on the risks that they are taking? Can you tough out one more year of not being happy with your role in the offense or with the team? Can you tough that out for one more year before you jump into the deep end here? Because you're jumping on a sinking Titanic and there's not enough lifeboats. And that's the concern. But 1,600 names, Kev, and it's June. Time's going quick. It's about to be July. Think about it. You got July, August, September.
School that you're going to by July 1st, or you're not going to be eligible to play.
So 1,600 names just have to be dispersed through. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
Oh, it's a ton.
When you're talking for football, maybe not. I still think it's a lot for football, but it's manageable in football when you have so many more, the rosters. But you're talking about basketball for 15 guys or gals. Like that's strange. 1,600.
It's a ton of people that's going to be looking for a place to get an education from. And the thing about it for me is, like you said, we don't want to go back into the back and forth about that. But what I will say is, when these kids make these decisions, these young adults make these decisions, you're right. They need to be educated. And the education can't come until the bad things happen.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't know until you know. So nobody knows. This is brand new. So that's why I'm not jumping off the deep end and saying this is the worst thing that ever happened, because, we have to see how it goes. And then if it's continues to be like this year after year, then I'll say, okay, now we have a situation. Now we have a problem, because we know how people are about new. People love to do the new thing. People love trying the new stuff and everything like that. We're like that. We're recruiting. When Ohio State signs a new 5-star quarterback or running back, oh, we can't wait to see him on the field. Well, what about the other 5-star that's been there for 2 years? You're over him already. So these kids and parents, because I'm sure they're talking to their parents and advisors and everything like that, to make these decisions that, okay, they're going to see a lot of people make mistakes, and they're going to be telling their kid, and they're going to be telling themselves, just like you talked about, like, well, I just saw Johnny from Texas A&M. He transferred. He ended up having to go down a level. Bob, he didn't even get to go to another school, man. He's working a real job now. I'm going to just stay here. So the people that are going to find themselves in bad situations, let those be the cautionary tales of people that's jumping in the portal and don't have a place to go. But one thing I definitely want to see, and I'm sure there'll be a great reporter that gets some numbers on this, I want to see the coaches that are encouraging these dudes to transfer, because it isn't always just the kid that wants to transfer. We know that coaches kind of nudge guys out. Like, we hear about, when a new coach comes to town, they kind of quote unquote clean house and everything like that. I want to see those numbers too, because it's being skewed as all these dudes are just quitters and they're leaving. But there's a lot of new coaches. There's a new coach at a school every single year. So I want to see those numbers. I want to see the guys that he's went through spring practice and he's had that come to Jesus meeting on their exit interview. Like, look, man, we ain't got a place for you. I think it'd be best if you enter the portal. Like, those things happen so they can open up more space in their recruiting class. So I want to see those numbers as well. I don't want to always just be like, all right, we only see it from this point of view of where the kids are leaving on their own accord. I want to see the true number of the kids leaving on their own accord, the kids leaving because the coach told them that they don't have a place for them and think it's best that you move on. I want to see those numbers as well.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the last thing here, and then we got to step away for a few, but the problem with the transfer portal approach is this. Oh, man, players should be able to come and go as they please, just like you and I could leave from our job. Well, there's some restrictions within our job about us leaving and where we can go. There's always, that's besides the point. The point is, though, if I was to leave this job, I promise you, I'm not just going to, you know what? I want to work in a bigger market. I quit. and then I'm going to go home and everyone's going to be like, oh man, you got another job? No, I want to go work somewhere else now. I want to go work at a bigger market. It's like, oh, so you just quit your job before you knew where you were going? That's the smart way to approach, right? Unless you're just miserable at your job. Every circumstance is different. But most people don't leave their current job just to go home to start looking for another job. A lot of times people leave a current job because they got a better opportunity.
Right.
So the problem with the transfer portal and the message that all the people that come at me on social media with my approach on this, because I'm not a fan of the transfer portal, at least I'm not a fan of the approach for it for a lot of kids, is this. I don't like the point I'm getting. I'm going to the transfer portal. Well, do you know what's on the other side of that transfer portal? Do you know where you're going? I've seen a lot of kids who have left a Wright State or a UD thinking that they're going to go to a bigger school and get a bigger opportunity. And then they either just basically it's a parallel move or a step back. And it's like, was that what you were thinking when you were, and maybe it was, maybe it's like, hey, it's not as big a school, but it's an opportunity for playing time, which by the way, the kids I'm talking about, that has not been the case. So my point is a lot of times when we who have the freedom to do what we want as far as leaving, coming and going, we usually have something else to go to. So if I get a job in Columbus or in Cleveland or wherever in New York, okay, I'm leaving this job to go take that job. I know that I'm leaving here to go there. I'm not leaving here to go home and then start looking for a job, because then that's stressful and you don't know where you're going. That's what these kids are doing. These kids are quitting quitting. They are leaving their current job to go look for another one instead of finding that other one and having a spot waiting for you, which legally cannot happen because of tampering and everything else. I get it. But that's the mess with this. All right. Step away for a few moments. I want to close out this hour with this. It's our non-sports headline of the day. Jeffrey Toobin. You remember that name?
Yes.
He was the one that got fired, or I should say he was suspended indefinitely from CNN because he was caught, masturbating on a Zoom call. And they brought him back, Kev. This is to CNN. So Jeffrey Toobin, again, legal analyst for CNN. A year ago, because everyone was doing Zoom meetings, he was caught, pleasuring himself on Zoom.
With the gestures, bro.
On Zoom. Oh, that wasn't a gesture. My bad. That wasn't a gesture. I swear that wasn't a gesture. I was just trying to find the right words, but forget it. Bottom line is Jeffrey Toobin was indefinitely suspended from CNN for being caught masturbating on a Zoom call. They brought him back. Everyone's all upset. Now, keep in mind, I've heard that they wanted to fire him, Kev, but they were afraid what he would do if they told him to beat it. What?
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Heard you're buying a car. I brought my calculator.
Dad, I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly, instead of all that.
You know those things impact your credit score.
Didn't impact my credit score, Dad. Now I'm going to the dealership for a test drive and to make the purchase.
Sounds too easy.
No, it's just easy. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
At Lowe's, we're your go-to for great gardening values every day. That's why we've lowered our price on select bagged mulch, now starting at just $2.88 a bag. Mulch helps prevent weeds and retains moisture. And when you put it down around trees, shrubs, and flower beds, you'll see how beautiful it makes your outdoor space. Just in time to welcome back family and friends. Shop online and pick up in store. Lowe's, home to the best part of summer. Selection and product availability vary by location. While supplies last, U.S. only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
When the doctor told us about my mom's cancer, it made me feel so helpless. Until I called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and spoke with Grace, who answered all of my questions about the disease, treatment options, and cancer-related expenses. Her support and compassion made us feel whole again. Today, I'm calling Grace to let her know my mom is beating cancer. To learn more, visit lls.org.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer, and now is a great time to buy. For a limited time, Honda has extended 0% financing on the 2021 Honda Passport, Honda HR-V, Honda Pilot, and the 2021 Honda Odyssey for well-qualified buyers. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for the complete details. We are located at Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Okay, 3 dozen by tomorrow morning. Yeah, the roses and
Faraz's flower shop is blooming. To keep up with high demand, he must strengthen his business's roots.
Just 1 second. Faraz's flowers. Hold, please. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to Faraz's.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Lowe's is your go-to for great gardening values every day. Select bagged mulch is now just $2.88 a bag. Selection and product availability vary by location while supplies last. U.S. only.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He's struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we are back. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. David Shaw commenting on my comedy skills, saying, wow, that was lame. That was pretty good, Shaw, and you know it. Look, I'm not proud of a lot of my jokes because I was like, oh, maybe they're not that funny. That was funny, and you know it. It was funny.
Shaw, who's going to be Michigan's starting quarterback this year? McNamara again, or they got somebody new? Don't they have a transfer from Texas Tech, I think?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Shaw knows. I'm sure Shaw knows. He'll let us know.
Well, he's saying my joke wasn't funny. So forget him. Forget him. There you go. All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So I was supposed to be a quick conversation, but I'd thrown out that the updated transfer portal number that I saw as of yesterday was at 1,600 for college basketball. I don't know if the transfer portal is not as large for football. I don't know why that doesn't make head. I think the reason the basketball one is so alarming is because it's substantially smaller rosters for 1,600 names. And again, when I say that a roster has 15 people, we're not saying that there's 15 spots available on each roster. We're talking maybe 2 to 3. And at this point, I'd say 80% of the teams don't have room for anybody else. Not saying that they wouldn't make room for somebody else, wink, wink. But that's kind of where we are at as far as that goes. But I find that very interesting as we sit here on June 15th, mid-June, and we're at the point now where you have 1,600 names in the transfer portal for college basketball, 1,600 names that I would say if I had to bet 14 of those 1,600 are just looking for more playing time or whatever. I'd say a couple hundred are homesick. That's just a guess. I have nothing to base that off of. But again, young adults wanting that, we'll see. But again, we'll keep an eye on that. But, a lot of the stuff that we covered in that over-under that we'll get to around the corner as well. The Cleveland Browns and Nick Chubb, it's a good problem to have. I mean, right now we're talking about, there's topics with the Cleveland Browns that we haven't talked about since they've returned to Cleveland. And that is, man, what do the Browns do to keep this really, really good player? Well, I don't know, because they have 2 or 3 or 4 other really, really good players that they have to financially find a way to keep. That's uncharted waters for the Cleveland Browns since returning to Cleveland. So we'll get into that coming up around the corner, but let's do my favorite part of the show as well. The sympathy meter. Kev, hit the music. The sympathy meter, of course, we are at the point of the sympathy meter where we, of course, find different stories throughout sports, and we discuss whether it's a team, whether it's an individual, an athlete, a coach, whoever, related to sports. We talk about that scenario, and we kind of give you on a scale of 1 to 10, what is our sympathy rating for that individual team like? And then we're going to open up with this. How about this one? Start to the end in the NBA. Miami Heat president Pat Riley, Kev, was fined $25,000. That sounds like a lot of money to people like you and I. Maybe not to him. He was fined $25,000 for tampering over comments about Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James. He was simply asked in an interview, about that. He was asked about LeBron James and about the run that they had, and would he ever be welcome back in Cleveland? And he, what would he say to LeBron James if he had a chance to talk to him today? And he came out and said, "Hey, the key is always available to him to return home." He said the key is always under the mat. That little phrase right there. Again, we've seen a lot of coaches and we've seen a lot of situations. I mean, Magic Johnson was getting fined left and right for little comments like this that don't have a lot of base to it, but it's common sense. Of course, Pat Riley would welcome LeBron James back. He just said what we already know, and he's going to get fined for it. Sympathy meter on the scale of 1 to 10. How sorry do you feel for Pat Riley's $1,000 fine for tampering at this point? Look, LeBron's in he's in LA. He's staying in LA. He's retiring in LA for however many more years he's playing. We don't know. Bottom line is Pat Riley saying something that we all have figured to be true of, hey, the key's always under the mat for him to return home to Miami. That's a given, but that's tampering. How bad do you feel for him and some of the other coaches and personnel who make these comments and get fined left and right?
Goose egg. I feel a goose egg for Pat Riley in this situation. The reason is because, one, like you just said, $25K for Pat Riley. Number two, Pat Riley's been in basketball, especially coaching, with the Lakers in the 80s and management with the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks since the 90s. He knows the rules, man. He knows he can't say anything. He knows he just say, hey, man, I'll talk about LeBron when his career is all said and done. He's always got a place in my heart here with the Miami Heat. Something of that nature. Not the keys are under the door. The NBA is always trying to find a way to, fatten their pockets to the donations to the, the NBA Cares program, because that's where the money goes. The money goes to charities and everything like that. So the NBA is always looking for a reason to find these dudes to stack up the charities that they give to. So I feel no sympathy for Pat Riley. One, because he's a bazillionaire and he lives in Miami and we live in Dayton, Ohio.
My sympathies, and again, don't look at me crazy. Let me explain it. It's at an 8 and it's out of frustration. And here's why. I don't feel bad for Pat Riley in regards to, oh man, he got $25,000 taken from him. But what I'm getting tired of is look, when LeBron was a free agent, you know how tough it is to convince LeBron to come to you? Do you think that these little sprinkles that are dropped in these interviews are really swaying guys left or right? Like, the bottom line is this, is that no player has ever been convinced to sign with the team based on a 10-second radio clip or a TV clip that they've heard. That's why I have a problem with the NBA finding these guys left and right. Like when Magic Johnson said, man, I would love for LeBron James to play with Anthony Davis, and the Pelicans lost their mind. And Magic Johnson's like, well, what? I do. I mean, they asked me. So you can't tell these guys to be open to the media. Go talk to the media, knowing that the media is going to ask you these questions. Your job is to run these teams. So they're going to ask you questions that, fit your job title, which is to get these guys to come play for you. So what are you expecting from them? So again, my sympathy meter is at an 8, not for Pat Riley, but for all of these guys as a whole, for what the NBA expects of them when answering this. And don't say, oh, I can't answer that. That's a very weird thing to rely on these guys to do. By the way, Pat Riley saying the key's always under the mat for LeBron to return to Miami. That is, it's tampering, but it's not tampering. LeBron's not like, oh man, really? The Heat would have me back. That's what I mean by that. Stop taking people's money over stupid stuff like this that literally has zero impact on where players are being. Honestly, I think it's a bigger deal when you start talking about role players. The star players are going to go where they want, and they're not going to be swayed by a radio interview. It's the role players that sometimes are shocked to hear that a certain GM or president would like their services on their roster. That's where I think that they should, clamp down on that. The star players, they know where they're going. Look, Pat Riley threw all his rings across the table at LeBron, and that still couldn't get him to stay in Miami. So what makes you think that a 10-second radio clip is going to get him to come back? All right. It's the sympathy meter part of the show. Next up on the list, Kev, how about this? Former Reds manager Brian Price. All right. Brian Price, he's officially retired from any of his coaching or managerial duties in Major League Baseball. Of course, he was last with the Phillies as a pitching coach. Before that, he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. But according to an article in USA Today, Price was over the direction of today's baseball being managed from the front office. He highlighted the importance of obviously needing to have the whole organization on the same team, bringing in a coach that fits what they're looking to do with the team. He says he's not blind to that being being important. You want everyone on the same page. He never wanted to be the guy that comes in and says, we're going to do it my way. But at the same time, you bring in a manager, you bring in a coach to do that, like to implement their philosophy.
Right.
He just did not understand why you would hire anyone to manage it. You're basically hiring puppets because the front office, and again, he only managed for one team. He never said the Cincinnati Reds, but he only managed for one team. So you know who he's talking about. He said from how my lineup should look to what my batting order should be, to what my rotation should look like, to how many innings my rotation guys are allowed to pitch, how many pitches they're allowed to use. He had almost zero say of what this team was doing, and he said that's why he wants out of today's baseball. And I find that very interesting. It's a lot of the same complaints that I've had, even with David Bell. I'm like thinking about this. I get when we had David Bell on the show right when he was hired. I remember one of the conversations we had was, how much of your gut do you use in making baseball decisions? And he said, I'm a baseball guy. I'm going to use my gut. Obviously, going to use the analytics when they make sense. I promise you, David Bell has not been using his gut at any point throughout this Reds journey. So all of my all my criticism that gets thrown his way really should be going right up to the top because he's doing what they're telling him to do.
Right.
So when managers get fired, I have huge sympathy for him. It's all the way up at a 20. I have sympathy for them because they're doing what their bosses are telling them to do. And then when it doesn't work, the bosses don't say, hey, my bad, I screwed up. It's, well, why aren't we winning? We're firing you. Well, I'm doing what you told me to do. If you let me do what my gut's telling me, we'd probably win a few more ball games here and there. So my sympathy for them, Kev, it's at a 20. And this is a sympathy meter of 1 to 10. That's the rules. It's at a 20 for guys like Brian Price, David Bell, and basically every manager of a team that literally tries to manage from the pitch count all the way to the lineup. That I have a huge problem with.
I'm at a 9. I'm almost at a 10 with it. You know what? Forget it. I am at a 10 because you know what? Nobody has more retreads than baseball. Baseball managers get job after job after job after job. Even more retreads than the NBA, the baseball has. Now, I'm looking at Tony La Russa. Now, Tony La Russa, no disrespect to him. He's a great manager and everything like that. But I can't tell you how many jobs this man has had. He has a job. I mean, he was retired, and then he came back, and now he's managing the White Sox and telling his players not to hit home runs when they got dudes out there that should be outfielders pitching. Like, that is the old guard. But when you have a manager that basically is an order taker and running everything from a computer, what's the point of having a manager? Like, I'm sure Brian Price didn't get into baseball off of computers. He got into the game because it's an actual game and you have some type of control. You can have control on the outcome, not only from the hitter's perspective, the pitcher's perspective, the outfielder's perspective, and, the manager managing the situation. And when you take that out of his hands, that can lose your love of the game. Like, there's a ton that these managers deal with egos from players to dealing with management and everything like that, dealing with crazy interviewers like us and dealing with the fans and everything like that. Their sole love is managing and the game itself. So when you take that from them, they have nothing else. They have no love for it. So I don't blame them, man. You know what, man? This ain't for me no more. If we're not going to actually manage the game, if you're really going to basically have a call sheet for everything that I do, then why am I even here?
An instruction manual.
Yeah.
When this happens, push this. When this happens, push. When this happens, call a customer service number. Like, that's basically what baseball's turned into, and it's embarrassing. I've always been not a Brian Price supporter, but I've always been sympathetic towards him in regards to a lot of the heat that he took for being a manager of a rebuilding team. Man, they sucked. They lost a lot of games that they were rebuilding. That's what rebuilding teams do. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you're winning during a rebuild, for one, good for you, but you're not doing it right. I'm just saying, like Brian Price, that's why my criticism against David Bell when they were losing a lot was, what are you doing differently than Brian Price? Because Brian Price didn't have talent. You do, which makes what you're doing more concerning than what Brian Price did. But I love that Brian Price came out and spoke out against this and said, hey, and I love guys that do this. Rather than continue to manage today's game that's different and just complain the whole time, he just said, hey, I'm checking out, and here's why. It's not for me. you talk about Tony La Russa. I know that he has that old school mentality, but also his White Sox are one of only 6 teams in Major League Baseball right now that have over 40-plus wins, and he's sitting in first place in that division right now. So his way is working. They have a talented roster. He's pushing the right buttons, and I think what makes Tony La Russa great is what makes Nick Saban and others is, sure, they have an old school mindset and philosophy, but they're willing to adapt. Tony La Russa is not. He's not winning in Chicago if he's not adapting in some areas that we're not privy to see. I will say that. But
wow,
yes.
Did you know Tony La Russa was the manager of the White Sox back in 79, from 79 to 86?
Oh, that's right. I mean, we're
I
talking
didn't
about
know that. I mean,
89, 99, 2000.
I know him from the Oakland A's and the Cardinals. Like, that's where I know him from. I never knew that he once
Decades
managed.
before?
Yeah.
Decades before
I was even born, he was the manager of the White Sox. Goodness gracious.
Sympathy meter for those of you just tuning in. For me, Brian Price, and all baseball managers who have to deal with front offices who literally tell them, here's what your lineup needs to be. Here's what your rotation needs to look like. Here's how many pitches this guy's allowed to have. I think that's frustrating as far as that's concerned. All right, on to the next one. I know you'll be a fan of this one right here because you sent it to me yesterday, but the NBA's competition committee. The NBA's competition committee, they met on Monday to further explore rule changes to restrict the unnatural motions surrounding jump shots that players are using to draw fouls. Sources have told ESPN the league wants to limit the ability of players, including stars like James Harden, Luka Doncic, LeBron, Trae Young, and others, to lean backwards and sideways, for example, to initiate contact and get to the free throw line. Using the sympathy meter scale of 1 to 10, how much sympathy do you have for some of these offensive stars such as James Harden, LeBron James, Luka, and others?
Negative infinity. Look, man, I disagree with them putting LeBron's name in here. I don't ever remember LeBron with the sidestep getting fouls. Like, yes, LeBron is an actor and he flops and all that. That's a different argument. But the Harden, the Luka, come on, man. You cannot take a jump shot and then jump sideways and bump into me and then the ref call a foul on me. That is bogus. That is not a foul. If anything, that's an offensive foul. You can't do that. You can't jump backwards and say, foul on you, Kev. No, he jumped into me. I am standing here. He jumped into me. I'm 100% with this rule. They need to abolish that ASAP, man. Are there tricks to the trade of drawing fouls, like the Kobe rip through? Like, they've tweaked that a little bit. That's a foul. You can't touch me, and then when I go on my shooting motion, you hit me. That's a foul. Yes, that's a foul. And drawing contact, what LeBron does, that's a foul. What they're doing is jumping into people, creating contact, and then they're getting rewarded for it. No. And you know why? You know why it's a beautiful thing? Because the points that they're scoring at the free throw line off this bogus foul calls, you know what happens in the playoffs? You don't get those calls in the playoffs. Because when James Harden was doing it all the time with the Rockets and everything during the regular season, people losing him. Oh, man, he's scoring 37 points a game. In the playoffs, he was scoring in the mid-30s, lower 30s, then the teens. Because farther and further in the playoffs you go, they swallow the whistle as they should. So, hey, James Harden, Luka, stop doing it because they're going to start calling fouls on you.
So my sympathy is about a 4, mainly because of this. If you're talking about shooters jumping into the defender to the side, why the hell are you as a defender standing on their side? Maybe that's why they're getting the shots they're getting in the first place. If you're standing in front of them, that ain't happening. Fundamental defense is also a lost art in the NBA. So again, they're not being in position. And I know what the shots you're talking about, but a lot of those they're leaning sideways. But why is the defender to the right or left of you? I know that some shooters, I mean, it's the NBA. They could dribble with their right or left hand. I know sometimes you want to open them up, force them to the middle of the lane where you have help or whatever. I get all that. But at the same time, a lot of these things are coming from guys even being out of position defensively. So you're still bailing out the defense for playing bad defense. The other thing is when you talk about initiating contact, I mean, I think that is an art. I know that there's a lot of players in the league who can't do it.
Right.
And then there's some who are really, really good, who just have a feel for how they're being played defensively. I mean, a lot of the time, the great players in the league who receive defensive pressure that some of the average players don't, that's why they're so crafty, because they're so used to having a defender on their hip coming off screens. And that's where the defender being to the side of them does come a lot of times, is you're coming off that screen where they're chasing you. They always have their arm on your hip or chasing you. Yeah. And then when you come off, you shoot coming off the screen, and then you kind of lean into them that way. But again, if we're going to change this rule and say that you can't initiate contact to draw a foul, then you're not going to like my next comment. You need to get rid of the charge in basketball. The charge should not exist. The charge line should not exist. Here's why. There's no such thing as a good charge. A player control foul is I went barreling through the lane and plowed your ass to the ground and you went sliding across. That's a player control foul. I believe a charge is the same offensive. It's the same philosophy as the offensive initiating contact. If I'm going to stand there and wall up, trust me, you're not being hit hard enough to go flying back. You are purposely falling backwards. I did this when you were out one day, and I really wanted you here for it. I hate charges because I think that they are flops. Charges are flops. If you watch a player control foul and they go barreling through the lane to make contact, you go sliding across the lane because you fell because of that contact. That's a player control foul. A charge, you're trained. I mean, even little kids who are trained how to take charges, you're anticipating the contact, so you're already naturally falling backwards anyways. You're not falling backwards because you were hit. You're just naturally falling backwards because you're anticipating the contact. That's why I hate charges. Charges are the same thing. It's the same philosophy defensively as what these guys have offensively is we want to initiate contact to get the foul to be in our favor. So that's why I'm not a fan of the charges. I'm not for or against initiating the contact while shooting, but we can't pick and choose when we want to say we don't like initiating contact here or there. I think a player control foul should still exist as far as barreling through the lane, right. But I don't think that guys should just step up and just stand there and be in the way and then call the foul on the offensive guy who's attacking the lane. I think that, I don't know.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. That's that. I've been a big proponent in the block charge thing. I mean, like you said, like if a dude is out of control and come barreling down the lane, yeah, you shouldn't have to just stand there and take it. Like if a dude is coming down the lane out of control and you're sideways, not even looking, and they run through you, that's also a charge. You shouldn't have to be standing still, straight up like a pencil to get a charge call. Like I just don't believe that. Like if a dude is out of control, he's out of control. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right, that's fair. All right, and that is the sympathy meter. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash and 1410 ESPN Radio. The show being brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll step away for a few. Oh, yes.
Quick question. Is the sympathy meter sponsored?
No, not sponsored. Okay. Over-under is not sponsored either.
Okay.
Always available for being sponsored.
Okay. How can people get that sponsored?
They can find the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Everybody has Facebook, and you can reach out there, and you can get that baby sponsored.
Good to know.
Your business can sponsor that part of the show right there, or the entire show. You can join up with Orion Sports Medicine and be a sponsor of the show. There you go. When we come back, Major League Baseball is clamping down on, using any kind of substance to give these pitchers any kind of advantage. And from what we have looked into research-wise, it already looks as if it's had an impact on the results of these games already here from a pitching and offensive standpoint. I was going to include that in the sympathy meter conversation, but I just want to get to that on the other side. Is Major League Baseball making a mistake of clamping down in the middle of a season? Should have been done a long time ago, but are they making a mistake of clamping down on this in the middle of a season? We'll discuss when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and breezy, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 55, and tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Okay, 3 dozen by tomorrow morning. Yep, the roses and
Faraz's flower shop is blooming. To keep up with high demand, he must strengthen his business's roots.
Just 1 second. Faraz's flowers. Hold, please. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to Faraz's.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
You know, a few days ago while hanging out with my family, I noticed my father staring blankly at me. Something's not right, I thought. Is he having a stroke? Then I remembered to act fast, F-A-S-T, and did this quick test. F, face. I asked my father to smile. One side of his face drooped. A, arm. I asked him to lift both arms, no problem there. S, speech. I asked him to repeat a phrase. His speaking was slurred. T, time. I called 911 for immediate help. This way, he began receiving life-saving treatment in the ambulance. My father was out of the hospital in a few days, all because he made it to the hospital within an hour of his stroke. Practice recognizing the signs of a stroke so that you can act F-A-S-T, fast, to save a loved one.
This message is brought to you by the Ohio Department of Health's Coverdell Stroke Program.
Heard you're buying a car. I brought my calculator.
Dad, I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly. Instead of all that.
You know those things impact your credit score.
Didn't impact my credit score, Dad. Now I'm going to the dealership for a test drive and to make the purchase.
Sounds too easy.
No, it's just easy. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of 4 is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this, unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Exactly, the Keith Byers Show. Every Monday from noon to 1. Of course, throughout the summer, due to his schedule being what it is, a lot of times we push that show to Wednesdays. And of course, the show will be on the next 2 Wednesdays from noon to 1, the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. So the now College Football Hall of Famer. I'm really happy for him, Kev, because last year, it was one of those where he finally got through. He finally got inducted, or he was finally named as, selected to the College Football Hall of Fame. But he was adamant. He goes, look, I don't want to be that guy, but if they're going to try and find a virtual way to try this all, he's like, I'm going to just pass and say wait till next year, because he wants to be honored on the field with his family there. So I'm happy for him that he's going to be inducted come December, and he's going to be honored on the field at the Shoe during one of the home during one of the Ohio State football games. So I'm pretty excited for him again over the next couple months as we get closer to that football season. But he deserves it, I promise you that much. So there you go. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. By the way, you had asked Shaw earlier about the quarterback situation for Michigan. David Shaw, one of our listeners, and of course very active on our Facebook live feed, and always chimes in on the conversation. And he's really one of my least favorite people in the world, but he does know I do appreciate him contributing to the show, even though he drives me up the wall. But you'd asked about the Michigan. So he talked about McNamara. He said McNamara most likely going to be the guy unless the Alan Bowman kid from Texas Tech enrolls this summer and tears it up. And then he also talked about the true freshman, J.J. McCarthy at Michigan. That's who he wants to see. He goes, deal with the freshman struggles this year, but Harbaugh knows that he has to win this year, so he will choose McNamara in his opinion. The only reason I would disagree is because I can't agree with anything Shaw says. But the second thing is I feel like, in the NFL, actually, no, the NFL, the rookie quarterback thing does not give you a pass. In fact, how many coaches get fired all the time with the rookie quarterback? Well, the organizations that want to win usually fire their head coach with the rookie quarterback, and then the others keep them, like Zach Taylor. But you look at the Chargers. I mean, they made sure Justin Herbert set up. The Browns took care of Baker and all that. No, in all seriousness, I don't know how that would the perception to be, with Michigan and Harbaugh. My thing is this: they extended him with all the with all the non-winning of big games that he's been doing or not doing. I don't know. I mean, is this the final season of Harbaugh and Michigan if they can't get it done? I feel like starting a freshman quarterback, that's kind of a built-in excuse. I mean, if you win with that freshman quarterback, it's the whole, man, Harbaugh finally has his guy. If he won with him in year one, imagine what the next 2 years are going to look like, 4, but 2 if you're lucky, if he's good enough to go to the NFL. I think that starting the freshman makes a lot of sense if you're Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, because it either is going to work really, really well, and then you have your quarterback for the next 2 years, and then everyone buys in again, or you struggle and you at least can say, yeah, well, I was using a rookie quarterback or a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, I saw I got another transfer wide receiver, Dalen Baldwin from
quarterback /
Yeah. So he's coming in. He actually was a target for Ohio State as well. So that's good for them. He's coming from Jackson State. So, coming from a quote unquote smaller level of competition, coming up to the Big Ten and everything like that. I wish him nothing but luck. You know, the linebacker from LSU, Jabril Cox, ended up going to your other team, the Dallas Cowboys. He actually transferred from North Dakota State to LSU, got him a lot of exposure, and he ended up getting drafted. So that was pretty cool to see. But as for Michigan, you know, it's a ton going on up there with the football program, and it just seems like the keys are just not turning in the right direction. Defensively with the man-to-man stuff, and people just killing it over that. And it's just when you're in a program that's just like not achieving the way you're expected to achieve, every person in the fan base turns into Bill Belichick. They have the answer from watching on TV. Let's be clear. Jim Harbaugh may not be the best coach in the world, but he knows far more about football than me, you, Shaw, Bob down the street combined. But I just don't know what the disconnect is between Jim Harbaugh and the players, because that's what it seems like to me. It's like there's a disconnect. He's not breaking through with this group of players, because he did have a breakthrough, you know, before with the Jabril Peppers and that crew that came in and everything like that. But he's not seeming to break through with this current group of kids that he's recruiting.
You know, Shaw that they re-signed him to less money, which I already know that, and he said, you know, and they cut out the buyout, so of course he has the lowest buyout in the Power Five if he wins or he's gone. I get that, but at the same time, why is one more year of not accomplishing what you want him to accomplish? Well, that's what I'm trying to say is like, look, I just don't think he's gone. I think the problem is he wins a lot of games. He's just not winning the ones that count the most, and that's really what, you know, is working against them. But nonetheless, you know, I will say this. I didn't mean to get into this topic, but since we're here, can you imagine a scenario where Ohio State, Michigan play the final week of the regular season and something weird happens? I mean, you could see Ohio State and Michigan now officially meet in the playoffs. Not that they couldn't in the 14, but because of where they play in the regular season, it was always going to keep them apart come 14 playoff time, right? If the expansion of the playoff expands to 12, I can't imagine what that first time we end up accidentally running into Ohio State, Michigan really is, because then both programs can't control the kickoff time of that, because then it could potentially be a nighttime, primetime kickoff spot, right? Yeah. Unless freaking Fox gets their hands on it. I'm so sick of that. But that's something to keep in mind. You know what's funny is in the NCAA tournament, they always keep Duke and North Carolina. I can't remember the last time that both programs were in the same region or the same bracket or on the same side of the bracket. Every time they have Duke, they always seem to just, we never consider that. Oh, bull crap. Every year, North Carolina or Duke, they're on opposite sides of the bracket for that one tiny % chance of them meeting in the NCAA championship game. So it would be interesting to see how aggressive the NCAA or how aggressive the College Football Playoff Committee would be in trying to get that matchup in the playoff, or how aggressive they would be in trying to keep them separated to potentially one day meet in the championship. But let's just learn to walk before we run. Can Michigan maybe win a Big Ten title before we get to that point? The answer is no. So there you go.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. Exactly. All right. Nonetheless, real quick, Lamar Shelley on Facebook, he says that I'm having a huge overreaction to the Bengals cutting short their mini camp. I'm not, by the way. He said 10 days of perfect attendance. What, do you want a star on your chart? What, Lamar? I love you, buddy, but what? 10 days of perfect attendance and a possible season-ending injury. I'm fine with the decision. #Houday. Look, Houday all you want. But the Cincinnati Bengals have won 6 games in 2 years. You're a year removed from having the number 1 overall pick. You just had a top 5 NFL pick. You're not doing a lot of winning. You're not drafting well. Free agency, you're spending a lot of money. You're not spending it on the right players, obviously. So what? Perfect attendance? I mean, look, when I was in kindergarten and had perfect attendance, my teacher didn't say, perfect attendance, we're going to reward you with not having to come to school. No, they said, keep on coming to school. Keep that perfect attendance going. Why are Bengals fans so weird when it comes to their damn team? Why can't you at least look at your team and say, what are you doing? That doesn't make you a bad fan. What makes you a bad fan is continuing to make excuses for your team's stupid decisions, and the Bengals are not in a position to cut minicamp short. Who the hell are they to say, oh, well, we have a couple more days of minicamp, but I think I've seen enough? What are you talking about? Stop defending that. You could defend your team. You could be a fan. You could be a fanatic. But stop defending stupidity, because I'm telling you, if the Browns pull this, I will be just as angry with them as I am with the Bengals. But the Bengals have won 6 games in 2 years. And just last year, as I said to open the show today, the Cincinnati Bengals and everybody else were crying, bitching, moaning, and complaining because, oh, man, when you look at we didn't have a full offseason. We didn't have OTAs. We didn't have mini camp. We didn't have any offseason workout programs. And that's why we're so behind development-wise with this team. And now teams are purposely pulling the plug on their offseason programs? Are you kidding me? Lamar, I love you, but stop defending your crap organization for stupid decisions like that. That is not acceptable. It's not okay, and it's not making them better. But there's a reason that they're going to be looking up at the teams who are actually good and why they're going to be in the basement making excuses. Just saying. So there's that. I thought we had moved on from that, but Lamar sparked. We're back. He sparked it, So there's that. So who day? They the ones in last place because of stupid decisions like that. Who day? We'll be back. Who day?
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Heber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Ohio has a lot of smart, hardworking roofing contractors. And to unlock your full potential, use the Beacon Pro Plus app. Beacon Pro Plus helps with material ordering, order history, and automated rebate tracking. Use it 24/7 wherever you are, saving valuable time and building your business. And by using it, you could win keys to unlock an all-new Ford F-150. You work hard. Now work smarter. Learn more at becn.com/Ohio. That's becn.com/Ohio.
There's a lot of talk about getting back to the way things were. But what does that mean? Does it mean getting back to feeding our community? Is it about getting back to moving Earth? Or planting the seeds of the future? For the folks who run with us, there is no going back, because they've never stopped working towards a better tomorrow. Together, we run forward. Nothing runs like a deer. Learn more at johndeere.com.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
The sound of a dad at Lowe's is the sound of a happy dad. This Father's Day, get a great value on the Craftsman 20-volt cordless 2-tool combo kit, now $99. And the American Gourmet by Charbroil 2-burner gas grill for $118. You have to hear it to believe it. This Father's Day, let Dad loose at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. While supplies last, Craftsman Combo Kit offer valid 6/10 through 8/4. American Gourmet 2-burner gas grill offer valid 6/10 through 6/23. U.S. only.
Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions. And now, with a Credit Karma Money Spend account, you can be rewarded for good money habits. Plus, when you make a purchase between June 8th and June 30th, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. Visit creditkarma.com/winmoney. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MBB Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
During this unprecedented time of worldwide economic challenge, it's so important for you to keep a close eye on your retirement and be ready to take the steps necessary to protect your money. Having a portion of your IRA or 401k backed by physical gold and silver offers Americans the diversification needed to hedge against economic volatility and potential turmoil. When the financial markets plummet again, savvy retirement savers will be those with the foresight to safeguard with genuine stores of value, like physical gold and silver, which in the past have soared during periods of misery for the rest of the economy. Diversify your hard-earned savings today by calling Birch Gold Group at 800-899-4635 and get their free information kit to teach you how precious metals can protect your family's financial future. Birch Gold is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and has thousands of satisfied customers. Call them 800-899-4635. That's 800-899-4635.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
It's the third pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select God knows who. Bengals fans getting all fired up, coming at me once again. This wasn't even supposed to be a day of that. Like, I honestly, like Kev, I thought that Bengals fans would be on my side on this. The Bengals are not good enough to cut short any offseason programs. They're just not. Like, I don't understand. Over, under 3 wins for the Bengals. Under at this point. I mean, because they'll just say, hey, we had everyone show up to practice for the first 6 weeks of the season, so we could just take the rest of the year off. That's what Lamar Shelley, he's a Bengals fan, and he's all for it. Lamar Shelley continued the back and forth on there, Kevin. He goes, NFL guys don't show up for mini camps. Look around the league with all the guys not showing up year after year. Perfect attendance with the chance to get things done is fine. Perfect. Keep showing up. There's nothing more valuable than a coach's opportunity to get his team on the field. The fact that they do have everybody on the field, right? That's what makes these last couple of days even more valuable. Like, I mean, how much is the offense getting out of Aaron Rodgers? Like, let's say if Aaron Rodgers plays this year, Kev, for the Packers, like the Packers offense right now is struggling in their mini camp because they don't even when you don't have your starting quarterback. I know it's good reps for Jordan Love and everything, but you're really not prepping for Jordan Love. It's just good to give him some reps. It's good to kind of get him out there to kind of build a rapport with the other starters and the other weapons. But overall, how much is it benefiting the Packers for this coming up year if Aaron Rodgers plays? Not a whole lot.
Right.
So, if the Packers pulled that plug on that, I would get it. It's like, well, we don't even have our star wide receivers and our quarterback's not here. You're not getting a whole lot of that. But if the Packers had Aaron Rodgers and everyone showed up, I guarantee you they wouldn't cut camp short, because anytime you have your whole unit together, that is valuable time on the field. For those of you who do not know that have tuned in, whether it be on air, on the stream or live here on Facebook and YouTube, the Bengals and Zach Taylor announced today that with days still remaining on their mini camp schedule, that they said they're done. Their off-season schedule is officially, their off-season program is done. So they're going to skip the last couple of days of minicamp, and loser Bengals fans are coming out left and right and saying, oh, good for Zach Taylor. Good for the Bengals. Man, they worked so hard. They did an entire minicamp's worth of work in just a couple of days, and they got to go home early. By golly, gee whiz, I love my Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, my goodness. Shut up. That's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, is saying, perfect attendance. They've been here every day. Good for them. They're supposed to. Congratulations for doing your job. You know what's also part of your job? Winning football games, something that they're not doing. So, hey, remember this. Well, they only won 5 games in 2021, but hey, at least they had perfect attendance in minicamp. Stop. And then to top it all off, I'm looking at all the Cincinnati Bengals media guys. I'm not going to call anyone out individually, but barf. Barf. All of them defending the Bengals. This really isn't a big deal. It is a big deal. Stop being a bunch of freaking homers and worrying about your credential being pulled and do your damn jobs. This is a joke. It's a joke. I don't care if other teams are doing it. They're jokes too. The Houston Texans, they also didn't even have a mini camp. Yeah, that's the organization that I would take pointers from. Keep bringing it, Bengals fans. Just keep it. Keep it coming. I'm fine. Keep defending your joke of an organization, and I'm going to be right here to prove you wrong every single time. Ray Arp, he says, Bengals fan here. I agree. Thank you. Finally, someone with some sense. Ron Howard, of course, always witty. At least Bengals fans are one-team fans, not flip-floppers like you. Lamar Shelley chimes in, says he flopped to the point where he doesn't even discuss the Cowboys anymore. Because we're in Ohio! Why would an Ohio-based show talk about the Dallas Cowboys for 3 hours?
Where are we?
I tried to give you the I tried to at least talk. I mean, that's the thing, too. Everyone's like, well, you live in Dayton. You should talk Bengals. I do, and you still don't like how I talk about your team because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you what's actually going on, and your team sucks. Your team's not good from top to bottom. They at least have a quarterback, and that's about it. Give me a break. Oh, you don't. Oh, yeah, he didn't even talk Cowboys. Do you want me to talk Cowboys? Would talking Cowboys make you feel better? No, because you know what you would say next? This is Ohio. Why is he talking about the Dallas Cowboys? We're so. Why not talk about the Arizona Cardinals? How about I do that? Los Angeles Rams? Want me to go there? You don't want me to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. You just want to find something that because you're running out of ammo of proving your point. Your point's wrong. David Shaw. And everyone thinks I'm the only one who ticks them off. No, you're one of many. You're just the guy. You know, you're just very, very good at it compared to others. Now, like I said, the Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor, calling it, quits today. They quit. They quit minicamp. They quit their offseason. That's quitting. When there's time. I mean, that's like saying, Kev, Oh, well, we played 3 quarters of great football. You guys work so hard. Let's just go home. We'll skip the 4th quarter. Let's everyone get your snack, get your juice box and your turkey sandwich, and let's get on the bus and sing Kumbaya because we worked really hard today. Oh, the Zach Taylor book is going to be so good to read. Give me a break. Hour 3. Next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are here to help. We'll make sure you have all the supplies you need to make the job quick and easy. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com. You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back. Baby back.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, welcome back. Hour 3. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Bengals fan Ray Arp on Facebook, Kev. He said he's a Bengals fan. He agrees with everything I said. He also said this is why people come at us fans, because of stupidity that they display. I agree. You're one of the few smart ones. Congratulations. Don't defend that. And by the way, I just saw a poll that was run. Mo Egger, 1530 Cincinnati. Put a poll, do you have a problem with the Bengals cutting minicamp short? And I don't mind giving him a plug. 48% of his 683 votes said no. So not only is your team dumb, there's a lot of your fans are dumb. Dumb fans. A lot of you. Most of you. Not all of you. So for those of you crybabies in your car say, I'm not a dumb Bengals fan. Okay, I wasn't talking about you. But there's a lot of dumb fans of the Bengals fan base. I'm just saying. And I don't want to hear oh, man, you work in Dayton and you're calling your listeners dumb. No, just the Bengals fans. And if you say that, you're dumb too. Just throwing that out there. All right, transitioning here. By the way, 4579. Who we got, by the way? We got Ron. Ron, how are you, sir?
Oh, Ronnie.
Ronnie. Wasting our time as usual, Ron. What is wrong with you? All right, 457-946-4. That's the number that you can call in and jump in on the conversation if you want to discuss this Bengals situation, as far as that goes. Because right now I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I don't get why so many people are just content with the Bengals just calling it quits. They quit. The Bengals quit. All right, Kev, who we got?
We got Gary.
Oh, Gary. Gary. I'm glad to talk with Gary, I think. It just depends what you have to say.
Well, here's what I gotta say. I never agree with you. Ever. Are
you a Bengals fan, Gary?
I'm a huge Bengals fan.
Great to hear.
I became a Bengals fan in 2005 when they were good, and I decided to hang on Bengals fan.
But what you got?
But this is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. I absolutely agree. This is why they need to be on the field every second that they can possibly be on the field with a quarterback that's just coming back from injury that needs to work with his players. But no, we're going to cut it short because Zach Taylor said? No, Zach Taylor didn't say. Mike Brown said, because he said, this costs me money to be on the field. And this minicamp don't really mean a whole lot, so I'm going to go and cut this short.
That damn electricity bill. We don't have COVID relief paying for it this year.
Exactly. We gotta shave the money back a little bit.
Actually, there's no electricity because they don't have that indoor facility, so... I don't know what it is. I mean, who knows?
This is the most asinine decision that I've ever heard. I don't care if it's a couple days. It's absolutely ridiculous that you would not keep your players on that field for every possible second. You know what? Day, night, morning, evening, I don't give a crap. Keep them on the field every possible point that they can be on the field. But no, we're going to let Zach Taylor's got the he makes the decisions that he's going to do that and give his players a break. Why? What break have they earned? They haven't earned a damn break.
Well, what?
Go ahead.
Just regardless of if it was Zach Taylor or Mike Brown or Katie or whoever in between, the decision, regardless of who made it, it's wrong. And I guess it's the decision I was annoyed with. I became angry at it when there's a lot of things I say about your team that I know I'm going to irk some people off. This wasn't one of them. I thought there would be more smart fans like yourself that would see why this is a problem. Like you being a Bengals fan, a longtime Bengals fan, to sit here and say that this is a problem, that doesn't make you a bad fan. It makes you very intelligent, actually. So this whole idea that because the Bengals had perfect attendance during OTAs, that they should be rewarded with off time. You talked about it. No. Joe Burrow has played 9.5 games. He hasn't even played a full regular season's amount worth of games yet, and he's getting off days in the offseason. I know he's banged up, but they're not tackling each other. Reps are everything right now, and the chemistry with the team with a bunch of new faces, including that number 5 pick, Jamar Chase, that was so good that they had to take over an offensive lineman to actually protect the guy that's hobbled on 1.5 legs right now. So it's just frustrating. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, but then he played 9 games with a certain group of players, and now he's going to play an entire season with almost completely different group of players that, they spent this much money on. Oh, who gives a crap? And their asses need to be on the field, making sure they're getting reps with them to make sure they have the time to get to know each other, the time to work with each other. I don't get it. Like, I'm so flabbergasted on why they made this decision. I can't even put into words what we're doing, and this is just the epitome of, I hate to say it, it's the epitome of the decision making of the Bengals management.
Yeah, and you know what they should have done too. I think it would have been very important to get Brandon Allen some time out there with them starters, because there's a good chance that he's a quarterback for the starting quarterback for the Bengals for a good chunk of the season if that offensive line doesn't match.
Joe's going to get his butt kicked because we didn't do anything for the offensive line. That's a very good point.
Gary, you are my favorite Bengals fan. You know that. I love it. If more Bengals fans were like you, I might drop a few who days every day if that was the case.
Oh my God! If I heard one from you, I'd be happy. But
who day? You deserve it, because there's irrational Bengals fans out there. You deserve it. And by the way, you're the face of all intelligent Bengals fans out there. So just know that there's a good chunk of them out there that agree with you and I, and the others. Well, they're why this show exists, I guess. I have no clue. I don't get it.
The others are the ones that are. I'm not even going to get into about the others because they've been recent fans, not old fans.
There you go. Hey, Gary, great hearing from you. You take care.
Hey, brother. Have a good one. All right.
Yep. Take care. Have a good week. I mean, Kev, you could have been a part of that, but I know you were kind of hovering over that dump button. But to be fair, I don't even think your mic's on right now, to be honest. There we go.
All right, we're back. Yeah, I had my hand on the dump button. I didn't know where he was going. He was close a couple of times, but shouts out to Gary, man. Thanks for calling.
Smart and has discipline. Gary's a good dude. Gary's a good dude. And Lamar Shelley, he says, here comes the conspiracy theories. Look, saving money on electricity is not why they ended it. They're dumb. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's just a proven fact. There goes my credential. Gee, there goes my 0 Bengals games I cover a year. Anyways, real quick on this. So Major League Baseball, transitioning here. Major League Baseball, Kev. Actually, we'll get back to this in a moment. I'll continue reading this. Major League Baseball players who are caught using any of the foreign substances on balls will be ejected and suspended for 10 games. And it's going to be a heavy penalty, because when you are suspended after being caught for using this substance, your team is not allowed to replace you on the roster. So if you become suspended, the 25-man roster, whatever it is, like it's going to be 24 now, because they cannot replace you on that roster. So it punishes your team long term, which I kind of like. Baseball is being criticized right now for their approach to this because, they feel like they've let this go on for so long and now they want to pay attention to it. The bottom line is, if you strip that approach out of this conversation, this is actually a very good approach by Major League Baseball. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's actually good. It's going to take the cheating out of the game. No matter at what point baseball decided to jump in to take care of this, they were going to get ripped with the same criticism, because it's like, oh, you waited so long. Why now? My only complaint is why 60 plus games into the season do you decide to take this serious? Why would you not have taken care of this sooner, or wait to the off season to maybe start a full fresh season of, clean, non-cheating baseball, right? So that's the only argument I have, is why now. But I don't know why people are mad at this. I love this. I think that there's not enough. I don't think that players fear getting caught. The same reason steroids were rampant is because players didn't fear getting caught. Taking steroids gave them a chance to raise their numbers, to raise their income. And you know what? If I get caught after making millions and millions of dollars more than what I would have without it, so be it. It was a risk, the reward, that the reward outweighed the risk. And right now, I don't know if the risk outweighs the reward if you get caught cheating using a foreign substance, because right now, not only would you be suspended 10 games, but now your team's at a disadvantage because when you're suspended, they can't replace you on the roster during that stretch. So real quick, before we get to your take on that, who do we have on hold, Kev?
The Ron.
Ron is back. Ron, what up?
Man, why you keep hanging up on me, man?
We didn't hang up on you. We went to you. You weren't there. That's on you. You hung up.
I've got a lot of shit.
Ron, that's why we hang up on you. That's exactly why we just hung up on you, because
he didn't get it all the way out, by the way.
No, he didn't.
I got it.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
I got him.
All right.
I had a feeling that today was going to be the day somebody slipped up.
10-game suspension for Ron. That's how we're going to rule.
Absolutely. Just like Major League Baseball. You know, I'm with you 100%. I look at Major League Baseball and I just laugh because you decide, you know, all basically at the halfway point of the season that you guys want to do something about something that's been going on in this league for a long time. Is it because of this spider tack stuff? Is this like a new substance that these guys are using? This isn't just Vaseline or snot or whatever the heck they've been using over the years. Is that what it is? Is this what's making people do this and jump over the moon? Or is it because there's been so many no-hitters and they're trying to curve that back and, you know, preserve the no-hitter to make that something special and everything like that? Is it just the hitters complaining through the roof that they can't make any contact on the ball? I don't know what it is, but I like it. I like the fact that Major League Baseball is trying to do something to curve down the cheating.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the thing, you know, moving. And again, when it came to steroids, the risk reward for steroids was the reward is if I use steroids, I'm going to hit a ton of home runs, I'm going to stay healthier, and I'm going to make a lot more money because, you know, your best ability is your availability on top of you contributing, you know, on the field, your power numbers go up, everything like that. So all of that, the reward was worth the risk. And if you get caught, you're suspended, and then you come back and you play again.
Right.
This, you still get suspended, but again, it now hurts your team. And then like it just becomes, it's going to start snowballing here. And according to this article on ESPN, it said that, you know, pitchers will be ejected and suspended for 10 games for using illegal foreign substances to doctor baseballs in a crackdown by Major League Baseball that will start this Monday. So here's the problem I have with this. I know this sounds crazy. I'm actually defending the cheaters, but what I'm saying is through the entire offseason and 2 months into the season, pitchers have a certain motion and a certain they rely on this for the way that they pitch now. And I think that right now the whole entire league, I think baseball is about to get really ugly because I think pitchers are going to do it the clean way, and the clean way is going to lead to offensive numbers going through the roof. And it's also going to lead to a lot of hit batsmen. That's kind of what I'm assuming here. That's, again, I could be wrong, but I do believe that that's going to be the case. I will say that this could benefit the Reds because pitching at times could not get any worse for the Reds, although they are pitching really well right now. But the Reds hitting has been through the roof even against the cheating pitchers. So how much better can they be now against the non-cheating pitchers? So that does benefit the Reds a little bit. All I'm saying is I have no problem with baseball finally cracking down on this. I said this the other day. My problem with baseball is the only time that they are like big time nationally relevant is on opening day and any other time there's a cheating scandal. Opening day, hell, the World Series doesn't even get the attention it deserves because, well, it's college football season, the NFL, the NBA is tipping off, college basketball is tipping off. There's so much going on in the world of sports that the World Series doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. So Major League Baseball has to rely on opening day and trash cans and sign stealing and steroids and, obviously this now with the foreign substances being used for the advantage of pitchers. Like, that's the problem I have with Major League Baseball is they are nationally known for all of the wrong reasons. It's never about the product on the field. It's always about some scandal. That's the problem I have. So I don't have no problem with baseball trying to clean this up. I do hope that they are aware of what's going to happen now starting Monday. Pitchers are using it left and right. Talked to a few people throughout the day that have either played, that have managed, in the past in Major League Baseball, and they just, it's common. It's just the don't ask, don't tell approach. And it's not just the foreign substances. Chris Welsh, I remember hearing him talk about how he would pour water, like he would make it look like he's hot, and he'd just pour the water all over his head and then down the back of his jersey. But he would always like touch the back of his jersey just to get that, just to get that little wetness right there, just to give him some kind of, movement on the ball. You put, behind your knee or whatever. So it just looks like you're scratching your knee or whatever.
Just like a quarterback when they lick their fingers to get a better grip on the ball when they throw it. Yeah.
And they tell you you're not allowed to lick your hands before you pitch. So what pitchers do, they'll lick their pointer or middle finger, and then they have to wipe it off. So you can lick it, but you have to wipe it off. So they'll lick their pointer or middle finger, and then they'll wipe their thumb on their jersey just in a quick motion to make it look like they're doing that. It's these weird little things, but it's been going on for decades. This isn't new. It's not like these new pitchers. It's not like today's pitchers have all of a sudden picked up cheating. It's just what has always been done. These guys are just going to be viewed differently than the pitchers from decades past because these are the ones they're cracking down on. That's the unfortunate part about it. These pitchers are no different than what the pitchers from decades past have done. That's why I defended the other day. Who were we talking about? What pitcher was I talking about? Garrett Cole. And when he was asked about whether he has used any kind of foreign substance, of course, the very awkward response that he had, but his response, I actually agreed with to a certain extent when he said, look, I don't know how to answer that, but there are certain practices that have been handed down from one generation to the next, from one decade to the next. And so that was his way of saying yes. But again, I've worked with so many pitchers who are older than me that have passed this on, these secrets down. Maybe it's pitching coaches. We can't always sit here and just assume that maybe do you think Derek Johnson hasn't given some of these guys tips on what they've done? Give me a break. So that's why I have a problem with it. It's a generational, it's a historic problem with baseball, but these are the guys that are going to be the face of the cheating. And that's why I have a problem with it. I feel bad for them to a certain extent. If we were going to do our sympathy meter, I would give these guys an entire 10 because they're going to be labeled as the cheaters, but they're going to be the ones that face the brunt of everything for doing what every pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball has done to this point. That's the problem I have with it, I guess. So there's that.
We got Ray on line one.
Ray? Oh, Ray, how are you, sir?
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Justin, Kevin. Good afternoon to you.
You as well. We appreciate you calling. Are you calling on the baseball topic or the Bengals?
I'm going to leave the Bengals thing alone with you, man, because I do not want you to bless a blood vessel, my friend.
All right. And you know what? My thing is, if you disagree with me, I will admit this. I am wrong for calling people dumb. That was childish of me. So if you disagree with me, do not think that I will call you dumb. You're not dumb. So there's that. But anyways, I have a problem. That blood vessel you talked about, it's real. It's real. Exactly. But no, what you got for us, Ray?
No, if it walks like a chicken, it clucks like a chicken, it's a chicken, buddy.
There you go. There you go. What you got, man?
Here's a real question for you. When is someone going to come into Cincinnati in an ownership group or as an individual and take a franchise where it needs to go? I mean, it has been a long time in Cincinnati. It seems prevalent in baseball, in football. When is someone going to come in and bring the pride back to Cincinnati?
Well, I thought, look, I was a fan of the Castellinis coming in. I know people didn't like Walt Jocketty when they brought him over, but I thought he brought a tradition from the Cardinals over that they could at least start kind of picking up some of those nuances a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because at this point, there's no history of that happening, for decades now. I don't know. But the problem is the owners in professional sports now, their teams are investments and they're not, it's not their passion. It's not their love. I don't want to speak on behalf of the Castellinis, but at times this looks like they're making investment decisions and not baseball decisions. And a baseball decision would have been to get a shortstop. An investment decision was we can't lose a lot of our money here. So we're going to lose games because of that. That's the problem I have with owners, not just the Castellinis, but owners across the board in all sports. These owners are not passionate. I love Mark Cuban. I don't care about the political side of Mark Cuban. I care about the passion he has for his team. He's going to do what it takes to get to spend the money to win. Say what you want about Jerry Jones, but I love that dude. That dude will spend money. He doesn't care. Sure, he gets ripped for it, but he doesn't care. You could tell he's passionate about his team. I don't get that vibe from the Castellinis. I definitely don't get it from Mike Brown, and that's the problem.
I'm in total agreement with you, man. I love both those guys. Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones know exactly what they're doing. And here's the big thing about it, Justin. Those fans, man. Those two guys are fans of the game. And you see it, and you can look at it when they speak in their actions. They're fans first and they're business guys. It's 1A and 1B with them, very close, because they got passion and love for the game.
Yep.
And that's exactly who we need in ownership in Cincinnati, is somebody to come in like that and bring it back to the fans, man.
Well, is it Cohen in New York with the Mets? I mean, look what he did. He came in and he made a splash, and he was active on social media. He was trying to connect with the fans and say, hey, I'm here to build a winner. With the Clippers, what's the Clippers owner's name, Kev? Ballmer. Same thing. You could tell he's a crazy fan. When they pan over to him on the sidelines and he's losing his damn mind. I love that. They pan over to Mike Brown and he's asleep in the damn press box or in the owner's suite. Like that, there's a big difference between the owners who care and are passionate, and then there's the Mike Browns of the world who are asleep in the owner's suite.
Yes, and it should be a requirement that you're a fan to be an owner. You should have to have knowledge of the game and some passion about it in some way, shape, or form that's truly genuine, versus just getting a bunch of guys together who got a bunch of money and see the opportunity to take advantage of the city and hold them hostage and sit there and run it as a business first and not as fans first, man. It's the biggest slap in the face to the fans in the game that you could ever make.
Yeah, I've always said this, and this will never happen, and I don't know what roadblocks would be in the way of it happening, but I wish there was some kind of criteria when it comes to ownerships of professional teams, or if a professional like the NBA or someone would come about this. I wish that, you have to meet certain parameters after you buy a team. Every 10 years, you get to be graded on, how much money did you spend? Did you actually make a good effort to try to put a winner on the field? And after 10 years, if you're not winning, if you go 10 straight years without winning or making the playoffs, I don't think you should own that team anymore. You're not a good owner. No. And the leagues need to realize that having bad owners under your umbrella makes your product bad. And there's way too many bad owners across all of professional sports. I don't know how it could be done, but I do wish there was some kind of criteria that after 10 years of owning a team, if you haven't met a certain amount of wins, a certain amount of checking off some kind of playoff appearances or something, you need to show that you care and you're trying to invest money into putting a winner on the field. I don't know why professional sports don't do that. Obviously, there's a reason not, but I just don't know what it is. It's ridiculous to me. I don't get how you could be bad at that. And then
I know there's a reason, brother. The reason is money.
But you think but the thing is, one millionaire buys a team and there's a billionaire waiting behind him to take over. So I know what you're saying, but there's a lot of rich people out there who will continue to flaunt their wealth by buying sports teams. That's why I hate when I hear about A-Rod wanting to buy an NBA team. How passionate is A-Rod going to be about the Minnesota Timberwolves? Really? How about you get Kevin Garnett, who I'm a fan of him buying a team, because Kevin Garnett, if he bought the Timberwolves, man, he's going to make passionate decisions that help make that team better, not just buy them and then check the stock on them every day.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy is a player, let's say he's a player that played a past sport for 20 years and was, maybe not a Hall of Famer, but he was a great, player. And he just shows a display of passion in his play for, X amount of years, he played. That should be a resume check. This guy displayed it, so what do we have to go on? The things that they displayed,
Yep. Ray, we're out of time, man. I hate to cut you short, but I do appreciate you calling, and call back again, and we'll continue this conversation.
No, love the show. Love you guys. I'll see you later.
Take care. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. David Shaw, how much have they won? Cuban has won one, and Jones hasn't won since 96. I'm not saying anything in Cincy is what you want, but Cuban and Jones is not what you are striving for. What are you talking about? I would kill for any of my team's owners to be like Jerry Jones or Mark Cuban. Do they hit it out of the ballpark every single time? No. But to sit there and act like Mark Cuban doesn't make decisions of what's better, and David, I know why you don't like Mark Cuban. I'm not stupid. So let's just be clear about that. I have no problem going that route with you, of all people, especially. I know why you hate Mark Cuban. Let's just leave it at that. But the bottom line is to sit there and say that Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks, I'm 31 years old, and the Dallas Mavericks have not been an embarrassment to the NBA since the 90s, and that's because of him. Literally, they have superstar after superstar all the time. They're contenders every single year. They're in the playoffs every single year. You lose your franchise, the best player you ever had, Dirk Nowitzki. You lose him, and you go right into the Luka era. I mean, my gosh, they're not afraid to spend money. Every time there's a big time free agent out there, the Mavericks are right there to try to swoop them up. The Dallas Cowboys, every time they have a need, Jerry's right there to spend the money to get it done. So has it worked out and led to championships? No, but at least they have a chance to win every single year, and that's way more than what you could say about the Bengals and the Reds and a lot of the teams that we all follow. So again, I'll take Jerry Jones and Mark Cuban any day of the week. Their approach to it, their love of the game, their love of their team, and the fandom that they show, I'll take that any day of the week. Your thoughts, Kev, to close this out?
My thoughts would take us too long. We'll do it after the break.
Maybe. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and breezy, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 55, and tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275. Just 40 minutes from WING.
Have you been seeking a final resting place for your loved one's cremated remains? Are you tired of endlessly searching to find a permanent home for a family member that gives you peace of mind, offers more security than the mantle, and doesn't cost thousands of dollars? This is Mark Davis from Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery, located at 8135 North Dixie Drive. We are pleased to announce a new product that offers families the opportunity to give their loved ones a permanent, serene, final resting place for as little as $300. Call us today at 937-890-1831.
Starting June 14th, get a free Febreze plug-in air freshener when you recycle your old plug-in of any brand, only at Walmart. Just bring in your old plug-in air fresheners to Walmart, drop them in the Febreze recycling bin near the air fresheners aisle, then scan the QR code on the bin to get a coupon for a free Febreze plug-in. Febreze plugins are now built with microchip technology, so you can enjoy a first day fresh scent for 50 days. This deal ends July 12th, so recycle your old plugins now, only at Walmart.
Introducing in-person payments from PayPal, a touch-free way for your customers to pay and tip. Whether you're a hot dog vendor,
mustard? You gotta have the mustard.
A personal trainer.
Don't you drop those knees, Sandra!
Or a boba shop.
Brewed to pearly perfection.
Signing up your business is easy. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan, pay, and tip too. Shop safe with touch-free QR code payments. Fees may apply. For more info, go to paypal.com/US/getQRcode.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
Starting June 14th, get a free Febreze plug-in air freshener when you recycle your old plug-in of any brand, only at Walmart. Just bring in your old plug-in air fresheners to Walmart, drop them in the Febreze recycling bin near the air fresheners aisle, then scan the QR code on the bin to get a coupon for a free Febreze plug-in. Febreze plugins are now built with microchip technology, so you can enjoy a first-day fresh scent for 50 days. This deal ends July 12th, so recycle your old plugins now, only at Walmart.
O'Reilly. This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. I don't even know how we got into this conversation about ownership in sports, but like I said earlier, I do think that, there is criteria to buy a team, but I feel like once you buy the team, you're just, all right, go enjoy your new team. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like there should be more, like, I think that owners, like, they need to be able to meet certain requirements even after buying the team to make sure that you are doing what you should. And I do believe that the most important thing of it all should not just be, of course, maximizing wealth for yourself, but what are you doing to make sure that you are representing the Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, NHL, WNBA, whatever the badge is, making sure that you are making that badge, making that umbrella better. There are too many owners in sports who are not making their sport better. And look, the Castellinis, by the way, they're not even in the bottom 10 of bad ownerships in baseball. Let's just be clear. Are they doing what we want them to? Absolutely not. I do not think that they are one of the worst ownership groups in baseball. Do I want more out of them? Absolutely. But at the same time, they spent $160 million or whatever it was, not this offseason, but the offseason before, which is the most they've ever spent, by the way. And I think that they felt like, well, we spent a lot the previous offseason. That should last us for a year or two. Maybe that was the wrong approach for them to have. But I will say that when I brought up owners like Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones, what I meant by them is I will take their ownership approach over any ownership group out there, because you could tell that they're fans of the teams that they own. That that it's not just an investment to them. That they're smart business wise. They try to make smart business decisions, but ultimately they are also trying to do what's best for the team as well. Now, David Shaw he brought up Mark Cuban and what have they've only won one championship, but that's it. What do you mean that's it? Since 2000, the Dallas Mavericks actually have the second most wins in the National Basketball Association. All they do is win. They make the playoffs almost every year. They're in the playoffs, which is what you want. You want championships, yes, but you can't win a championship unless you win regular season games and unless you get to the playoffs. Can he do more? Yes, but there's not a perfect ownership group out there. Right. Robert Kraft is viewed as like the perfect owner of any professional sports owner out there. And even they screwed up and missed to handle the Tom Brady, leaving New England and not having a successor plan and not doing what the Packers are trying to do and everything like that. So there isn't a perfect ownership group out there. But if I had to pick a mold, it would be the Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, and there's no Dallas affiliation there. Those happen to be two big personalities that own teams. Yes, and by the way, I like Robert Kraft. I like their approach to it as well, because they kind of also let their coach, who really he's the one cooking all of the ingredients together. Who is he to tell the chef how to cook the ingredients? You just do your thing. If you need certain ingredients, we'll help you get that. So that's why I'm saying about Jerry Jones, and who has his faults. He's a little bit too involved at times. Okay, fine. But overall, the Cowboys also, they're number 5 on the most winningest NFL teams in the last 30 years as well. It's been 30 years since they've won the Super Bowl, but they also win a ton of games as well. I just want a winner. I want to feel like we have a chance every year. Do I want a Super Bowl? Do I want a World Series, an NBA championship? Absolutely.
Well, you're talking about effort from the franchise owners to say that they really care and they're really trying to win whatever games, basketball, football. I get you there. I think what Shaw is talking about is actual results. I think results and effort are two different things. Like, you can have all the effort in the world and not get the result that you want because you're going up against super teams in the NBA. You're going up against the greatest dynasty of all time and the New England Patriots. So those type of things happen. I understand what you're saying. And it's very rare that I on ownership side about a lot of things. But I will say this about owners. When we talk about taking their franchise from them, I find it very difficult, and I just don't see a way to do that, or a feasible way to do it. I'm not saying I'm against it, but we can talk about the former Clippers owner, and they took away his franchise, and I use air quotes on took it away. They made him sell it. So you're punishing him by making him a bigger billionaire. You know what I mean? So I just don't see that as a form of punishment. He was a blatant racist, and all right, you can't be in our league anymore. You have to sell your team. Okay, cool. I'll take a check for X amount of billions of dollars. I just don't see a feasible way to take somebody's team as a punishment, because it is their team. You can't make them give away their franchise and they get nothing in return. That's totally unfeasible. But I mean, the punishment is you don't have this team anymore. And to your point, if that owner doesn't view that as punishment of, okay, I'll take my billions and go, that's why you want them out.
Right. I want, like, if you took Mark Cuban's team from him, that would devastate him because he loves the Dallas Mavericks. Do some of these owners love the teams that they own? No. I don't know. I don't think so. That's what I mean. So I agree with you to that extent. But at the same time, if you like the ball, or who was the racist owner of the Clippers? Why am I forgetting that name? Either way, so him, and they took his team away. We're sitting there saying, that he wasn't punished. Well, if that's a good thing for the NBA.
Down on Sterling.
Sterling, yes. So Sterling gets his team taken away. Yes, he's getting billions of dollars for his team, but he loses his team. And I know that it sucks that because, it's not really a punishment to him because he just got billions of dollars. He doesn't have the team anymore. If he doesn't view that as a punishment, losing his team, then that's a good thing for the NBA. For one, you rid yourself of a blatant racist, as you talked about, but you also rid yourself of an owner who was a part of a joke of a franchise who never was making the right decisions to make them a winner. Like, I know what you're saying. There's always the moral conversation part of the conversation, right. But at the same time, the NBA, Major League Baseball would be better off with more owners like Cohen of the Mets. The NBA needs more owners like Mark Cuban. I mean, the Cavs ownership, that's an investment to them. They don't care about winning. They don't care. They don't care about any of that. They're already talking about trading Colin Sexton. There's nothing there. That's just, all right, we'll trade him away and get more draft picks and we'll lose and tank some more.
He's the only player that anybody will want.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that I'm like, so I definitely agree with what you're saying is, well, how is it a punishment if you are giving a bad owner money to go away?
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to say, you know what, we're probably giving you what you want. We're taking your team away and we hope that hurts you. If that hurts you, then that means you're a fan of the team. But if it doesn't, well, you know what? The NBA doesn't care about that.
Because the thing about it is they're in it for the profit. And then when you sell the team, you make a bigger profit. So I just don't know. I don't know how we punish
it's not about punishing. To me, it's not about punishing. I mean, I don't think teams who cut guys look at it as punishing. They just say, listen, we really enjoy the effort that you gave us, but the results aren't there. So we got to cut you because we got to get someone in here that can contribute. So if I'm taking your team, taking your team away sounds aggressive, but by kicking you out of our ownership group and we're forcing you to sell, we're not punishing you, but we got to get an owner of a team that is going to actually try to win because that's, it's the shield of the NBA that you're representing. I don't feel like these owners do a good job of representing the shield of the professional sports league that they own a team and represent. That's all.
And I'm going to sound like the fan of the ownership and everything like that. I just find it hard to take something from somebody and they actually bought it because once again, I'm not a fan of ownership like that by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we got owners in sports franchises who debo cities into building them new stadiums, and then they have their patrons come there and charge them $100 for a beer, $20 for a hot dog after their tax dollars pay for their stadiums. Like, if you want a new stadium, man up like Jerry Jones did and put your own money down. You know what I mean? So that's why I respect Jerry Jones as a businessman because he wanted a new stadium for his Dallas Cowboys. He didn't ask the city for a tax write-off and, up the taxes in the state in Dallas. He put down half. He's like, I'll put down half. Where are y'all half at? This isn't a convention center that they're building for the community. This is a stadium where they're going to play football and they're going to make profit off of it. So Jerry Jones, being the great businessman that he is, he put his money where his mouth is, and I can respect that.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. But no, that was just a sidebar. And by the way, you want to talk about, I don't think winning a championship, like I've said this before, when the Bengals fans were coming at me saying, well, we made the playoffs 5 straight years. Well, that doesn't make you a good organization. Just like the Browns making the playoffs last year, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden the Browns have figured it out. It just means that they have something cooking now. What are you going to do to build on it? Where the Browns go from here will determine whether they are a good organization or not. The Bengals had lightning in a bottle for a little bit. What they did with that is they got worse and significantly worse. They didn't capitalize on it. They had a good team, and instead of adding to it and building it, they just let it crumble. That's not good. So, for instance, what I mean by this, Kev, is the Dallas Mavericks from 2000 to now, they have won over 1,000 games in 20 years. They have made the playoffs 16 of the last 20 years. They have won a playoff series in 13 of those 16 playoff appearances, and they have an NBA championship. Would you rather have that one NBA championship and 16 NBA playoff appearances in the last 20 years, or would you rather have that Toronto Raptors championship where you were basically irrelevant for 20 years, especially after you moved on from Vince Carter? So again, winning a championship, I get that that's the end goal, but overall sustainability of overall success, that to me is more. That's why like the Mavericks 20-year stretch here, I don't get why people are bashing him as an owner as far as that, because he's delivering there. I know you were talking during the break about what superstars he brought in. I get that, but I will give him this. Every time that there's a big name free agent out there, Dallas is always in the mix. They were going after Anthony Davis, trying to find a way to make a trade to get that to happen. Every time LeBron was a free agent, they were always mentioned as a
How
shooter.
come people don't go there? That's my question. Like I said, I like Cuban as a guy. I think he tries to do his best and everything like that. I do just find it funny that the best players that are ever on his team are guys that were drafted. Obviously, we're talking about Dirk, we're talking about Luka and everything like that. And those dudes are generational talents, and they're going to be in the Hall of Fame, all that good stuff. But I just don't understand why NBA players aren't going to Dallas. I mean, they were able to get guys to go to Houston and everything like that. I mean, they're in the same state. It ain't the fact that this state doesn't have any state income tax. Like you have.
What free agent did they get though? Because they traded for Westbrook. Didn't they trade for Harden? They gave up a lot to get Harden.
That's right.
So that's what I mean is, again, right, they're able to get it. And Dallas and Mark Cuban is not a fan of trading away talented players on the roster already.
Right.
I think he likes to rely on, we don't need to move on from these guys. I can go spend money in the offseason. But I agree with you. And I will say, the Dallas Mavericks have some of the nicest facilities in the NBA.
Right.
He has invested a ton of money into the resources that they have there, and of course the facilities, to make sure that they have everything that they need. Like the players are always well taken care of when they play in Dallas. Like I'm not a big Mavericks fan. That's not what this is. All I'm saying is it's an interesting approach to what we consider good ownership.
Right.
Because Mark Cuban's interesting to me. People, I think there's a certain group of people in this country that dislike him because of his political stance. Mm-hmm. I don't care about that. This is strictly about him as an owner. And for the last 20 years, for them to have 16 playoff appearances, for them to have, they're one of only 2 teams that has over 1,000 wins over the last 20 years. And that other team is the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs, by the way, have a great coach. They have probably the best organization in the NBA. Kev, they don't get free agents either. Mm-mm. No, in fact, you had Kawhi Leonard
moving to San Antonio. Bro.
So that's why I'm like, I don't want to punish owners for not getting players. I want to reward owners for at least always being in the mix. Mark Cuban is always, his nose is to the ground every time, going after every big name free agent that's out there. And I get, but again, they struck gold with Luka. He has to find a way. I know those reports have come out that he came out and said it's BS and all this, and there's unhappiness within the organization with the Mavericks, but Luka is going to stick around and sign that max $200 million extension and kind of go from there. But that's all I'm trying to say is what makes a good ownership. It's not strictly championships, because, for instance, the Golden State Warriors, for me growing up, they're right back to being where they were. A good year is we're fighting for an 8 seed. A bad year is, well, like last year, because injuries are why they had a lottery pick because of how bad they were. But that's who the Warriors were my whole life. I mean, the highlight for them was Jason Richardson winning a dunk contest one year for them, but they were bad. The Don Nelson year got a little fun in that mid-2000s range when they had Baron Davis. But what were they known for? Oh, yeah, being an 8 seed that beat the 1 seed.
Right.
Are the Warriors a good organization? Well, they just had that dynasty. I don't think that makes them a good organization. Kevin Durant didn't go to the Warriors because he loved the Warriors. He went there because they had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, who after 20 years, if we're just going to use the last 20 years, they did a fantastic job of drafting. They hit on some draft picks. Finally, after all those top draft picks that they finally hit on a few, and some of those weren't even top draft picks like Draymond.
Right.
But my point is if something finally clicked. Are the Warriors a good organization?
I think so. I mean, this isn't the same organization that was there when you grew up, and it sure isn't the same one that I grew up. I'm a little older than you. I remember the Run TMC days with Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway.
Oh, Chris Webber was there for a cup of coffee too.
Yep, for his rookie year and everything like that. So I remember those years, and those years they were super exciting and everything like that. They were always a run and gun team. But yeah, they definitely had lean years. But the new ownership group seems to be doing things the right way. I mean, you don't get a new facility and drop 40% on a new facility like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I respect them. And just like I was talking about with Jerry Jones, like when organizations and ownership groups say that they want a new stadium and they dip in their own pockets and come up with half of the money or a percentage of the money as opposed to upping the taxes on the actual citizens of the city, I can respect that. And I can also respect the fact that, they got a lot of game. They got a lot of game behind closed doors, because the ability to talk to a Kevin Durant and to convince him to come to that organization and play with them and take, you know what I'm saying, in viewership wise, a back seat to Steph, because it's always going to be Steph's team because he was there first. But the ability to get him to come in and the ability to win more championships, I say they're headed in the right direction. We talked about this about 2 weeks ago about how I think what's going to ultimately happen with Dame is he's actually going to end up going back home to Oakland, to the Warriors. I think that's going to happen by the trade deadline of the upcoming NBA season. I think that they're going to make that happen because everything that they're doing, everything they're seeing in the NBA, they're seeing what's going on with KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. They're seeing like, all right, man, it's back to the 3-guy thing again. Who's the third dude we can get? Oh, let's go ahead and get that dude, because you know what? We'll have the 2 best shooters in the league. Well, 3 of the best shooters in the league. Beat that. Like, I think that's the play for them. And if they can actually make that happen and then capitalize on that.
Dame isolation, driving to the lane and either having Steph or Clay on your right or left wing or corner. Good for him. But real quick on that, with that being said, Warriors, good organization. They're having a good stretch. Now, keep in mind, in the same 20-year stretch that the Mavericks have won over 1,000, one of only 2 teams, the Warriors have won 839 games in 20 years, with the majority of those coming in this last 6-year stretch. They only, with all the winning that they've done since 2015 to now, they only have 20 more wins as an organization in the last 20 years than the Clippers. So that's what and I don't think the Clippers are a great organization. They're on an interesting little stretch that goes back to the Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, time. But, so there's that. Some other organization, the Cavaliers, they've actually only won. The Warriors have only won in the last 20 years. They have only won 20 more games than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers in the last 20 years, they have 9 playoff appearances, 21 playoff wins in 1 championship. And the Cavaliers are a disaster of an organization. So that's what I'm saying. Like the titles, that's hard for me to sit there and say that's what makes you an organization, because winning that title in 2016 did not make the Cavs a great organization.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't change anything. Unfortunately, it didn't. Now it started to, but this is where ownership came into play. You know why it started to? Kevin Love signed the extension. People, by the way, people ripped that. That was a big deal.
Which one? Which extension for Kevin Love?
When LeBron left and he still signed the extension. Woo! Now it's easy to say, Kev, it wasn't a good deal because he's always hurt. But you realize that he chose to stay in Cleveland even after LeBron left. Like, I don't think K-Love gets enough credit for that. Like, can you at least
I'm not going to give him no credit for taking that big money. Shouts out to K-Love.
He was going to get that money. He's one of the big 3. He could have branched off and got
I would have let him
money.
walk. I'd have hit the nuclear button because Kyrie already was out the window. Your best player, obviously, LeBron James, is out the window. Let's just go ahead and put a full reset. Let's go do a sign and trade and get a ton of draft picks and try to start this whole thing over, because you're going to be sitting in limbo at best. That have been a play-in team or sitting in the 8th seed or something like that. Kevin Love wasn't going to take them over the top to be like a 5 seed or anything like that. Those days for Kevin Love are long gone. And, the fat Kevin Love at the Timberwolves, you not getting that dude again. That dude ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? He's a 3-point shooter now. The fat Kevin Love was a 20-20 dude. If he was that dude, I'd be like, all right, give him the bag. But skinny Kevin Love, I was straight.
Yes, I just liked it because, again, Cleveland learned when LeBron left the first time, they had nothing left. There was nothing left. And when he left the second time, the mindset was, we got to have something left. Kevin Love is that dude, because Kevin Love at least was somewhat of a piece that if you went out and got another all-star to come in, like a Kemba Walker or somebody, if Kevin Love is healthy and putting up 25 and 10, which he was capable of doing when healthy, not now, but at that time we're talking, it's 2021, that's 5 years ago, okay? Mm-hmm. And actually LeBron left 3 years ago, so 2018, I don't know. But the point is that's at least a name that could potentially draw a free agent in the free agent. But what was the point of keeping him if you weren't going to try and spend money? Again, people don't want to come to Cleveland to play, but I think a lot of that has to do with the reputation of the owner. But then again, free agents aren't lining up to go play in Dallas either. So, and the owner has a good reputation.
Right.
He's a player's owner.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't know. Why people don't want to go to Dallas. I would go to Dallas. Dallas looked like a happening town.
That was crazy. When I saw that they're one of only 2 teams to win 1,000 games in the last 20 years, I was like, but again, would you rather have That and no championships over 20 years, and I know they have one, but for this scenario, as we head out here, would you rather have that and no championships, 16 playoff appearances in 20 years, 1,000 wins in 20 years, 13 playoff series wins in 20 years, or would you rather have that little dynasty stretch with the Warriors where outside of that, they've just been very
Give me that dynasty, baby.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, we've proven that
I want to continue this when we have more time. I'm torn in between, but I'm curious.
You want them rings?
No, but it's like parade. But like the thing is, I don't think that's a model. The Warriors don't have a model like that. That was luck. No, hold on. I know you don't like that term. I can't say luck, but again, the Warriors got those players because they drafted high, because they lost a lot of games. Well, they've been losing for over 20 years, and they finally hit on some draft picks that made them a destination for Kevin Durant to come to. But since Kevin Durant's left, and I know injuries have made them kind of but I got to see over the next couple of years, how do the Warriors come out of this? To your point, though, if you get Dame Lillard all of a sudden, that's pretty sick. If Dame time needs to cheat to get a champion, so joking. That's how you have to win in today's game, unfortunately. So there's that. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, folks, have a great night. We are off tomorrow because the Reds play at 2 o'clock. Hopefully, by the time we hit the airwaves on Thursday, we are talking about, 2 more victories for the Reds. Can you imagine? The Reds just swept the Cardinals 4 straight at St. Louis. Can you imagine if we come back on the air on Thursday? They're already 2 games over 500. Can you imagine if they sweep the Brewers, the first-place Brewers, at Milwaukee? Do they get a win tonight? Yes! They get no Jesse Winker in the lineup. And why? Because you can't hit lefties.
Okay.
But,
W. Get another W.
But you have a chance to bring him in to pinch hit late in games. By the way, I mean, there's so many guys hitting the ball well. Hopefully Aquino can keep that going. And pitchers can't cheat anymore, so that's an advantage for the Reds. I know that's funny, but seriously, the Reds have been hitting the snot out of the ball. See what I did there? With snot on the ball. If pitchers can't pitch as well without snot on the ball now, how much is that going to help the Reds offense, who's already been clicking even with that? So we shall see. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Do this again on Thursday. Enjoy the Reds tonight and tomorrow. When we come back on Thursday, hopefully we're talking about a Reds sweep, or at least 2 or 3 from the first-place Brewers. Until then, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev.